All right, guys, here we are at Global Time Attack GTA Finals, Buttonwillow Raceway Park on November 14th. It's a beautiful day out here. The sun is just starting to peek through the clouds. It's in the 60s. I have a person who always knows the weather off the top of her head, and I'll introduce her. With me is Carla Pestovnik, the person who has been commentating with me at GTA Finals since we've been running this show. Carla, how are you today?
Thanks for having me once again, Cuban. I'm doing well. Looks like this weekend is going to be a fast weekend. Hopefully we'll see some new records. Looking forward to it. A lot of stiff competition.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. So 2020 has been very interesting, as I'm sure anyone who's listening and watching knows. We're lucky enough to even be out here racing. Those of you who have been watching us for long enough, though, will know that we usually run a very big production here at GTA Finals. Due to COVID, a lot of our production team could not travel. So first off, I want to give a huge shout out to the two people that are here right now traveling with us. Also to our production team that is working remotely from home in Portland, Oregon. So we're going to see some fast laps. This is Group 1, Session 1 live right now. So let me know. We will let you know what these lap times are like. Just some big heavy hitter names for you really quick. The first four people out there, we have David Hagsma in his SP Engineering GTR. We have Sean Cagle in his Caliber Customs C5 fixed roof coupe. And a name a lot of you have been seeing all over the internet, we have Ferris Kartoumi in his twin turbo C6 C06 out here for the first time ever at Buttonwillow, trying to follow up with how many records and how many places he set fastest laps. So we'll see how today plays out.
Looks like David Hagsma is already on the flyer, heading through Riverside, coming up to Middle Hill. On the screen, there's Ferris Kartoumi. Also another heavy hitter that we're looking forward to seeing how he's going to do this weekend.
So I will tell you this, something a lot of people don't know about Ferris, because I do talk to him often. I asked him why he was going to try to rush to make this after his that he won and set the fastest out. I remember that. And he actually grew up coming here watching his dad race. Though he is from Texas, his dad would always come race here at Buttonwillow. So he said for years it's been a goal to be here racing. So he said no matter what, if the car was running, he was going to come and send it.
All right, that's Gabriel Chahid heading through Riverside in that E90 and 30. On screen, looking into turn 1 Sunrise. We're also looking to see another solid week from Sean Cagle. 2 years ago, Cuban, that he caught on fire. So he's made a solid recovery since then, and last year he came out strong, so this year also another solid year.
Well, last year he did amazing. He burned to the floor 2 years ago.
And he's starting strong. Sean Cagle already putting down a 143.774. He's currently the fastest car of the session. So let's see how we can catch up here. Ferris Kartoumi already clocking in at 147.363. JC Monet already clocking in at 150.213.
Just across the line, Sean Kresbach is a few tenths off of the street record on his first lap. It looks like he just did a 48.932. So the biggest contested class here this year is going to be street class. We have Jack, we have Sean, we have Tang, and if he's already that close to the record, his first lap in the first section, I think we're going to see these times drop significantly.
Looks like the track is already pretty quick, even though it's been a cool morning here. Already some really quick lap times. We have also Dustin Williams already getting under 150 with a 149.436, car number 39.
And anyone who is tuning in for the first time, we actually do not put these cars out by class. We do it by speed index. This is Group 1, so this is the fastest group of all of the cars out here. These guys will be spread out through a bunch of classes, but as you can tell, we have some seriously fast cars right now. Sean at a 43.7, I believe that's going to be the fastest time we've ever laid down here.
Sean Cagle already in the pits adjusting tire pressures here. Looks like he's trying to go even faster than the current 143.77 that he clocked in the first lap, first section.
And you can see on camera here, you have Caliber Customs that was supporting him. That's also his wife, Ashley, out there taking data. And right now, this is actually the CSF Evo. If anyone remembers the CSF Evo on track, this car also burned to the ground. Fuel line came loose. Michael Essen did not have a chance to lay a true flyer down. So Carla's friends, she has worked with Moto IQ a bunch in the past. Carla, can you tell us a little bit about how Moto IQ helps put these cars together?
Yeah, absolutely. So this car has been in the hands of a lot of people, one of which is Moto IQ, who helped assemble the car, had Michael Kojima out here last year, last minute setup to the car. It looks like they're already putting in some laps, so that's a good sign. We're looking for a solid event from the CSF Evo, so we'll see how things go for them this weekend.
So a lot of people do ask, people who may not watch a lot of Time Attack, they ask why these cars come into the pit so much. Carla is a driver. She is also the best announcer I have, but she is a fantastic driver. Anyone that's ever followed Carla will know that. But Carla, why do these cars only run one lap and then come in the pits?
And for the record, I paid him to say that, to hype me up. Thank you, Cuban. But yeah, generally what I like about Time Attack, and this is what makes the entire sport easy for viewers to watch, is these cars typically don't last much longer than a lap. And so with that said, as a driver, you're really expected to just jump in the car and you really have maybe one shot to make it right and do the best that you can. So that makes it really exciting for both the driver and the team to really just send it for one lap and hope everything holds together.
So Carla's done wheel to wheel and Time Attack racing. I know she has a deep love for wheel to wheel, but like you said, Time Attack is like that one qualifying lap. This is a very high pressure situation. If you didn't do your fastest lap on the first lap, odds are the second one won't be any faster. The alignments are set up so aggressively. I can take Sean's car, for example, the C5 Z06 Sean Cagle. He physically cannot run 2 laps. If he tries to run a second lap, his turbos will melt.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about Time Attack. It's awesome to see how these cars are specifically built just to go as fast as they can for the one lap. So yeah, like Cuban was saying, turbos won't last much longer than a lap, brakes, and everything else that comes along with it. It looks like we already have the CSF Evo into the hot pits. I don't see them I believe they're making tire pressure changes from what I can see over here. So hopefully Michael Essa will be able to put down a lap time for this first session.
So while you see Gabriel Shadid on track really quick, but while they're looking at the CSF Evo, I'm going to throw some lap times out there because people are now setting up for more hot laps. The fastest person in the session is still Sean Cagle at 43. But let me tell you about second place. Amir has run a 45.4. That car ran a 47 last year. And the only difference is tires and a sequential. They ran, I believe, AR1s last year, and Amir will look you in the face and tell you that the tires alone are worth a second. So they've gained 2 seconds, which means the setup might have been a little better, and his driving still might have gotten a little bit better.
2 seconds is extremely significant for a car like that. To just come out here, and it's not like Amir wasn't already getting everything out of that car that he was last year when he was 2 seconds slower. So to see him come out here, instantly clock in a 145.463 really says a lot about him as a driver and also his team in regards to building a solid car for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. So here's also what we have. We have Ferris at a 47.3. Like we said, he is still learning this track. I know he ran a little bit quicker in testing yesterday, but anyone who's competed will tell you the competition day jitters are real. JC Monet out there, he has already run a 47.9. Great job, JC. Sean, like I said, is about a couple tenths off of the record. Gabriel Shadid, who is a regular at School at Battle, Texas, he tries to come out here and do as many events as he can. In his Grocery Getter M3, he's out here already running 48.9s. Dustin Williams in that, I believe that's the Rockstar Garage limited class S2000. If you guys haven't seen this car, it should be at a car show. It's so beautiful. It's a sequential. The paint is gorgeous. It was built for SEC STU, but I'm pretty sure we're going to convince them they got a full-time time.
And another honorable Sun Bo, also in an S2000, clocked in a 149.928, just barely clocking under that 150 time limit there. And looks like Johnny Hernandez was also able to clock in a 150.709, car number 5. Looks like he put in one lap and he might be adjusting something or potentially having some issues. So hopefully we'll see him back out in session 2.
There's a beautiful Rockstar Garage S2000. It's a very simple build. Carla knows these Little Wheel classes a little bit better, but Time Attack cars are like spaceships compared to Little Wheel cars. Our cars have wings on wings. It's like Exhibit built it. I heard you liked wings, so I put a wing on your wings. Where a car like that is very simple aero, a very strong drivetrain. It's all chassis setup because you're talking about running races, but they're have set it up this weekend to do Time Attack, and you can do some things with, not necessarily aero because they didn't change that, but with alignment settings, with brakes, with power. You can make the car more Time Attack and qualifying oriented, but he's really bringing a revolver to like an AR-15 fight.
Yeah, and second to that, as a car builder, which I'm not myself, but I've had to build cars for wheel-to-wheel classes, and oftentimes you're very limited to certain parts that you can and cannot use. For example, certain classes you might not even be able to put spherical bushing or change the bushings for sphericals. Just simple things to get more mechanical grip. But the awesome thing about Time Attack is the rules are so much more open. You can build a car that you actually want to build and get as much mechanical grip, most power that you want and can afford. So that's what makes things very interesting here.
Out there you see right now is Damien. This is one of the main competitors in limited class. So we were looking at Amir in the M3, Damien, Ferris. These are cars that we were going to see fight for podiums. So he's out here setting some laps. I don't believe they tested yesterday. The funniest thing right now is we actually have Amir on track. That quick shot of the grid out there, Amir's NSX is actually gridded number 1 also at the front of that. So Amir is running 2 cars. This is the stress of being a driver for multiple teams. He runs his own team and he helps the Motorsport Hardware LSM3. He has to come off track and immediately jump in his other car because that car is gridded first. Both cars were actually fast enough to be in first session, but we don't want him to have to make a choice between what car to run. So he literally has to pull in, jump out, get in his NSX, and relearn how to drive that car immediately. And this is why most people are not capable to run multiple cars.
Damien already clocking in a 147.395. That's car number 81. Most of the cars are starting to come back in the pits. We still have Ferris Fortumi out there. Looks like he might be doing a cool down lap. And Dustin Williams also coming into the hot pits, finishing up his session. And things are getting ready for Group 2, Session 1 to head out. Looks like we're already pre-gridded, and Amir Bentatau out there in the first grid spot in that NSX. Love that car. Also, it's a K24 powered NSX, so I'm sorry, K20 powered NSX. So that makes things very interesting to watch for his car. So we'll see how he's able to put it down.
It's a turbocharged K20. He actually runs a significantly small turbo for a K series, but it's because he wanted his power band to be very smooth and linear, like Sean with the C5. It has a Samsonite dog box in it, so it's a standard K series casing with Samsonite gears. Anyone who remembers last year will know that Amir was running his NSX, and I hate people that tell me their live data times. Well, Amir was running his NSX, and his tranny blew up on the backside. When he was on track to be a 48 lap. So he and Samsonis got together right after last year's GTA Finals, and that training's been basically bulletproof ever since that day.
Speaking of the devil, there he is, Amir Bental, doing one last hot lap for this session. Really nice exit there, going through bus stop. He is definitely on a flyer lap, sending it through Riverside. Let's see what he's able to clock in for this lap.
And while he's out there trying to set a faster lap, we had Ferris come in, change a few things. And I don't know if you saw his car going down the front straight, but this thing flies. He's on his smaller turbos. These are the ones from the autocross for Optima Search for the Ultimate Street Car. So this has a little bit smaller turbo setup. It only makes 832 horsepower and 800 foot-pounds of torque. And as you can see by our flagger, whatever lap that either of these guys set, that's going to be the last lap of this session. So Amir is actually rushing back into the pits. He's probably going to haul the mail back to his car. I hope he makes it in time, but here's Ferris. He's going to be coming around for his time. Let's see what he laid down. A 1:46.308. Ferris already picked up an entire second and a half between the first lap and second time lap that he ran.
Alright, and just in case you guys would like to follow along with the lap times along with our live stream, you can check out racehero.io and you can check out live timing on there as well.
If you don't have a computer, you can also download the Race Hero app. It is free. It also allows you to see previous times. This is a newer style timing system we've been using. We used to use another one, but it was hard to go back and look. So with Race Hero, you can look at every session ran. You can see the driver's fastest times. You can go backwards. So Race Hero does a really good job. Also, we have a live competition blog that we will be trying to update after every group of every session. So not at group one every time, but after all 4 groups have ran, we'll try to update the competition blog. That is at www.globaltimeattack.com/live. When you scroll down past the live stream and the timing and scoring, there will actually be a competition blog set up ready for you.
Looks like Ferris Fortuny had some issues and he's limping the car back into the paddock. Let's hope that it's nothing too serious and that he'll be able to make it out for session 2.
So as you guys can see, this whole lineup of cars right here, this is our pit. They're all lined up by speed index, as you can see the numbers. We try to keep the counts low so these guys have a lot of room on track for themselves. It looks like Group 2 runs about 16 cars. Anyone that's ever done a track day at Buttonwillow knows they would kill to only have 16 cars on track at one time.
Up next, we have Amir Bental, car number 67, gridded first. Jackie Dean, car number 86, gridded second. Thomas Smith, car number 51, gridded third.
Anyone wondering, that's actually Derek Boyd. He ran Pikes Peak this year. He runs Road Atlanta with us every year. His car was very fast up Pikes Peak. He has a very well-developed Evo 10. So hopefully whatever that is, it's something simple that they can fix and we can see him back out there because he is definitely capable of laying down some fast laps. The one beautiful thing about Buttonwillow is it has a lot of cutaways, so we don't have to wait for him to drive around 2.72 miles. They're just going to cut straight through, get him into the pits. That way we can go hot again.
And to continue where I left off, Kevin Berg is going to be gridded in fourth. It's car number 87 in that Grand Sport Corvette. Corey Wells, car number 76 in that Honda Prelude. Lots of changes since last year to that car, so hopefully they can get that car to hold. They weren't able to complete practice yesterday.
I think has more stuff to tab. We have the pits, we have the startup.
Nick Romano, car number 842 in that new Supra. Looking forward to see what they're able to do in that Pink Ribbon Racing Supra.
It is a beautiful car. I checked it yesterday. It is a good-looking car. I just want to go back a second. I'm surprised you even brought up Kevin Berg because he gave up the S2000 life for a Corvette.
I definitely don't hate on him for that. Kevin's a great guy. I am bummed to see that he got rid of the S2000, but the Grand Sport is also a really rad car. I can't blame him for that. There's always more S2000s out there when he wants to come back because he knows once they get rid of the S2000, they always come back.
He didn't get rid of it because it's too famous, but he still has it at home. Kevin's a great dude. He's a good driver. A lot of people have been bringing up Corvettes, how they're taking over Time Attack. I'm very honest with the fact that we have always welcomed all cars to try and come and compete. I mean, if you look at 10 years ago, remember this was Evos it was Evo Subarus and S2000s and Integras. It was like 4 kinds of cars. He was out here guaranteed you're only going to see these kinds of cars. So what I love is he chose to build a wide body vet but for street class. So he is self-penalizing. That car comes stock with 335 tires. He won't run a 295 52. It is not heavy per se, but he's still on stock suspension. He has the ability to be fast, but I have talked to him a lot. He knows for him to hit a podium today in that car, the stars are going to have to align and Amir's going to have to break. You know, not to put that voodoo out there. It's a joke. I love you, Amir. But anyone who's wondering, Amir actually has worked on 14 cars that are here today. He runs a business called RS Future. Kevin's wing is made by Amir. Obviously, all the air on his NSX is made by Amir. Johnny Hernandez has a new splitter and end plates made by Amir. I can name 13 cars here that have been touched by Amir. So the good thing is our competitors are never about being selfish. This is why we love Time Attack. They want to help each other be fast because they want to beat someone when they're at their best, not when they break, when they're at their slowest.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. It's really cool to see that as well. I mean, a lot of times there's solid competition, and of course you want to win, but like Cuban was saying, it's awesome to see teams helping each other out so that everyone can go fast, and it's really down to who has the car and who has the driving for this week and see who comes out on top.
Right there on camera, that's Thomas Smith, guys. He ran last year in a basically stock arrowed STI with a splitter, and this dude ran a 50. We were all in the tower in shock when we saw that GD chassis do a 50 with a stock splitter. So We have not talked about him much yet, but do me a favor and don't count that guy out. I think Thomas Smith has a record-breaking car. The problem is the record we're talking about is not going to stand for very long. So does he have a car that can beat the record that beats him?
Look, and I don't want to be a spoiler or anything, but I personally would like to see Thomas do another backflip off of the podium like he is known to do back in the old days.
You know, he was out of Time Attack for a little bit. He does a lot of driving. He's a fantastic driver. And yeah, you're right. Every time Thomas does a podium, he'd be out there doing a backflip. These hot laps are starting. We have a mirror across the start finish. If you have a race here, you are going to see that times are ticking. It's a mirror followed by Jackie Bing. These two have been competing, back to back. They are good friends. They talk a lot. Amir won the British. Jackie didn't bring his car. Jackie beat him at Road Atlanta by a good amount because Amir had never ran the track. And here, this is Amir's home track. Amir wants to film, how it gets down here.
Looks like Thomas Smith had some issues on the warm-up lap for his Subaru, so he was able to give a point by on the front straight not to hold up anyone else's entry to their first hot lap. So that's also great camaraderie that we can see out here.
So anyone who was watching Amir through the bus stop, truck stop complex, I have never actually seen him push his car that hard. So he's either over driving it or he knows something we don't. But I will tell you, he's running 295s all around him. He was on like a 285 or 275, 265 combo. So he's running a whole lot of grip now.
On screen, there's the new and beautiful Pink Ribbon Racing Toyota Supra driven by Nick Romano, who is also another racer that I often see at my race weekend. So it's great to see him out here competing in the time attack car. Very solid driver. Interested to see what they're able to do.
All right, guys. Cut off Carla. We have Amir coming down the back straight. Here we go. Let's see what kind of laps anyway. A 146.483 out of Amir. Amir just took 2 complete seconds out of the street class record.
That is crazy to see. He got it out there first lap out and just lays it down.
You know what's funny? This is Road Atlanta all over again, guys. We have a red flag. Amir and Jackie just lap red flag. But this same thing happened at Road Atlanta. The same thing happened at Road Atlanta. Amir broke the record, but Jackie broke it significantly more. Jackie Ding did a 147.8, which would be a record, but Amir did a 46.4, like that. And to let you guys know, we actually do not know what this red flag situation is for. It looks like we may have a car issue, but what's even funnier, look at this. Look at timing and scoring, Carla. We have Kevin sitting at start finish. He came to a complete stop at the tower and still did a 206.
That's awesome to see. Congrats to Kevin to clock a 206 right at the start finish. We are still waiting to see which car is actually on fire here. So basically what's happening right now, whenever there's a red flag thrown, that is an extreme emergency situation. So all cars are required to stop on track and with plain view sight of any flag tower so that you can see when there's a green flag thrown afterwards. But this is basically a safety situation so that fire and safety can access the car that's there, take care of them, make sure everyone is safe and sound.
So this is a freeze frame, guys. Do you see this Supra is about to pass this Prelude on the front straight? We're still trying to figure out what's going on with that, guys. Not to joke too much, but This is one of the things about cars that are built to the extreme. You don't necessarily see car fires in little wheel races very much or in track days, but we're talking about cars that are pushed to the limit. So you do see things happen. I mean, Sean Cagle's car has burned down. The CSF Evo burned up. We have seen many a car catch on fire here in the past. Luckily, Buttonwillow has one of the best fire and safety crews of all the tracks we go to.
Yeah, huge shout out to the fire and safety crew at Buttonwillow Raceway. They have come to my rescue more than once, unfortunately. So they're great. We're still waiting on confirmation to see which car caught on fire, but we have confirmation that there is a car fire on track.
All right, it does look like we're going to be continuing. We haven't seen the car get pulled off, but at least this tells us that the car was pulled off well. I mean, the car is pulled offline and it is safe. So the only thing we're waiting for is to see if these guys are going to get more laps or not. While we're sitting here waiting, guys, I will say this. A lot of people who have watched this in the past know that we usually run a little bit of a bigger production here at GTA Finals. For those of you that are just tuning in, due to COVID, a lot of our production staff could not travel. So we have our very faithful camera guys here, and we have a production team running this from home. Our producer is running this directly from Portland. Our whole production staff of Ryan Randalls is also working from his home in Colorado, trying to make sure everything is running smooth. So as it sits right now, everything is working smooth. Thanks so much for you guys for sticking with us. And also to try and keep you more up to date, we also have a competition blog that we'll update after every set of sessions, or we'll try to update after every set of sessions to just give you guys some moves on what's going on.
All right, so we do have a green flag now. So we're still waiting on confirmation to see which car actually caught on fire, but they have been able to pull the car safely out on the track, put out the fire. So now we have a green flag again. So let's see, we have Jackie King clocking in at 147.839. That's a wicked quick time in that Supra, new Supra. We're gonna wait for Kevin Burke to put down another lap, and that 206 was actually not an entire lap for him. Looks like we have Jose Mejia sending it through Riverside, also another solid driver there as well. He has a lot of experience with time attack. He's piloting that Art of Attack Civic Type R. Also another Civic Type R piloted by Graham Downey. He actually helped another team fix their alignment specs last night. And so it's really cool to see racers camaraderie, helping each other out. That car is actually owned by Dr. Drew himself of Track Spec Autosports. Vincent Del Campo, in one of my favorite cars that's out here. I always like to hype him up. That white EG of him sits in a nice spot in my heart. It reminds me of an old car that I used to race. So another solid front-wheel drive, time attack driver here. He's done a lot to his car since the last time we've seen him, which was last year. So looking forward to seeing what he can do this weekend.
Vincent is probably a fan favorite. He has tried to follow us as much as he can. He came to Circuits of the Americas for Flat Battle USA. He actually came to the Ridge Motorsport Park and laid down some fast laps. We know that he's been consistently working on that car. And, you know, there's anyone who's been doing this long enough will have a deep love for EG hatchbacks and the Pacers.
Just watched Johnson Mack with a nice exit on Sunset. Definitely maxed out the track. Had a little bit of tire going into the dirt, but stayed in it, sent it across the finish line. Looks like we're not picking up any timing from him, so if you're listening to this feed, please make sure that he has a timer that's fully charged. Jackie Ding getting really dusty on the exit of Sunset there.
He actually gave up the lap. He was really deep into that turn, and he put 2 off, had to correct, and he lifted, I'd say, 200 feet in front of start finish and still did a 48.8. So my guess is on predictive, he was looking at a 46 something, and he just was pushing the car as hard as he could.
Yeah, that's a wild section to get some wild oversteer like that. The wall on the inside typically comes very quickly for a lot of drivers. So Jackie Dean, solid driver himself, was able to save it and get out of it, although he was not able to go faster that lap. That's Amir. Looks like he might be doing either a mid-session cooldown lap or he is doing his cooldown lap in that beautiful Acura NSX. Jackie Dean looks like he also is doing a cooldown lap as well in that Supra 86 that we love to see out here. As I'm looking at timing and scoring, Kyle Robinson lowers his lap time by 2 seconds, runs a 152.058. So close to hitting the 151. Hopefully we'll be able to see him clock a 151 in the next session. On screen, Johnson Mack, another solid driver. Love that RX-7 that he has there. Although we don't have any lap times for him, so Johnson, get your lap time out. We want to see what you're clocking today.
Yeah, we definitely want to see that. It does look like this is the car that Graham Downey is driving. I believe we got done limited based on something in tech, but I don't quite remember. I'm going to have to double check that.
I actually happen to know because I spoke to him last night. So he was originally in street class, and they had 3-way adjustable shocks on the car. They took off the front adjustment for the
rear canisters were not removable. That is correct.
So for that reason, they were bumped up to limited class, unfortunately. Rules are rules, so sorry, Graham. Sorry, Dr. Drew. You guys are in class.
It was pretty bad. I didn't remember that because I'm the one that teched the car and put them in limited, but I did look at another 59 cars yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and go with brain fart.
So Graham Downey, a little bit of background information about him as well. He is also another wheel-to-wheel racer that I often see at my races, and I actually race against him in endurance racing. Him and Tang pilot a E36 M3 against the car that I also drive, which is another E36 M3. So we're usually pretty neck and neck as far as our racing goes together. So, but hopefully to see them volunteer.
All right, well, you brought it up. So who wins more between you two? Is it Graham Downey winning all the time, or is it Carlo winning all the time?
Well, okay, so last year we won the championship. However, this year they beat us in one race. We only had maybe 2 or 3 races this year, so we didn't have a lot of opportunity to go head and head. Second race we did not finish. They did very well, so they're tough cookies to beat coming into the next season.
Well, that's good. That means it's 1-1, so 2021 will tell who's the best. We have, if I'm not mistaken, is that Matt Rohanen? I don't see the timing and scoring on it, but I swear that's the Art of Attack Red Supra.
We're also not picking up a lap time for Jose Mejia in that CTR, so if anyone from their pits is listening, want to make sure they put the lap timer on that car. Looks like he's had a lot of really clean laps. Unfortunately, we're not sure what his current lap times are. Same with Matt Rohana there on screen in that beautiful Toyota Supra, also built by Art of Attack.
And it also has an RS Future front splitter on it now, and RS Future did some work on the rear wings and wing stands. So that's another car that Amir has decided to do work on to have him hopefully beat Amir.
This is so unfortunate. Matt is on a really good, clean flyer right now. Had a really nice exit on bus stop. Riverside is looking really quick. Unfortunately, we're not able to see what his lap time is. So if anyone is near Matt or Hamas, please make sure that he also gets a lap timer on his car. On the screen there, that's Tom Tang. He's driving an E46 M3. He's never driven that car before, but he is already clocking in some low 53s. Looks like he put in a 156.897 this morning, but yesterday he was running about 3 seconds faster, I believe, during practice. So it's awesome seeing him out here killing it in that car. I watched his in-car video from his practice yesterday, and he's doing really well as a driver.
This is what we would call the lull of the session. So let's go over some times. If you've ever been to a track day, you know that people are pushing it every lap just to have fun until they get checkered, and even on their checker in lap, they're trying to push it for fun. But out here, this really is a true competition. So they're not trying to take too much out of their tires. People come with a limited amount of tires. No one's trying to have a tire for every session. Luckily, we do run the Yokohama A052 in street and limited, and the A005 slick and unlimited. Yokohama is here supporting. Their big rig is here mounting and balancing tires. From all of the feedback we've gotten, this is a tire that people are in love with. And it does actually grip and hold well, as long as you don't do 10 laps in a row and scrub them and grease them out. So you have someone like Amir that is going to run the same set of tires all day. If the track condition stays the same and it doesn't get warm, he has a good chance of going sub 46.4 on the same set of tires. So right now, these guys are coming in, checking pressures. They're getting data for the next time they go out. They're probably not going to go out again, but they're writing this down. They're looking at information. A lot of drivers will physically watch videos of what they just ran so they can do little pickups. The difference between a regular everyday track day driver that sits at the same time and someone like a Carla, someone like an Amir, someone that's out here driving is they try to focus on every section of the track when they drive it. If they understeer into a corner previous lap, they're going to remember that. They're going to change the turn in. They're going to change their gas or brake degree and angle. They're going to do everything they can to try and make that corner better. And that's why we see out here over the weekend people coming out and running faster and faster lap times, not someone setting their fastest lap time the first lap and then going slower for the rest of the time. They're constantly evolving their driving style.
All right, so I'll just follow up here with the lap times to finish out this session here. We had Amir Bentatau with a flying 146.483. That was the fastest lap of the session, followed by Jackie Dean, 147.839. Really fast time for that Super. It's really exciting to see him put it down. Kyle Robinson, 152.058. Followed by Graham Downey with a 153.721. David Schatz, 155.203. Tom Tang clocking in at 156.897. Henry Lamb, the 203.543. And doesn't look like Kevin Burke was able to put down a lap. He only has a 206.390, and that was with him stopping to the start-finish during that red flag that we had in the session.
I would feel so bad to know that he turned Sunset wide open and then hit the brakes hard and coasted to the flag station and start finish and ran at 206. What could that lap have been? We'll never know, but it was definitely flying.
right, guys, so we just got confirmation for the car fire that happened earlier this session, which caused a red flag. That looks like that was actually Thomas Smith, guys. I'm sad to see that, but from what it sounds like, Thomas is perfectly fine. Hopefully not too much damage to his Subaru that he was in. That's car number 51, Thomas Smith. Hopefully they can fix whatever damage was caused to the car during that small fire. But we are first and foremost grateful that Thomas Smith is okay and unharmed from that car fire.
So as you can see out in the pits right now, our camera crew out here, this is David Hagsmuth's car running with Will Wata. Was that right?
I believe that's close to Watawanong Kiri.
All right,
Sorry,
fantastic. So Will, we love you. We've been with you forever, and I have to practice your name 13 times before I say it. But this is definitely a contender to be fastest car of the day. On grid right now is Group 3. This is car number 420, Honda S2000. Another CTR. These are becoming more and more common, guys. The FKA chassis, people are developing more and putting more time into them. So these cars are becoming more common here in competition. But it's nice to see these guys out there with their team gridded up. I'm not sure if this is Therese driving right now or if it's Nick Bright, but this gentleman is from Texas. He's one of the nicest people in the world. This is Spoon's actual Buttonwillow TSX that he bought. So it has to run Pro Comp because it doesn't have a VIN, it has a serial number, but it's a beautiful piece of history.
Looks like we actually do have confirmation that is Therese Lalou. I finally can get her name right after, what is it, been a year now? I finally say her name, Therese Lalou. We apologize that we have messed it up great so many times so far, but we're looking forward to not messing up her name anymore, hopefully this weekend.
So it's Therese. I apologize. I messed it up right before Carla said it. She actually blocked me on the internet, but she's still Carla's friend. No, I'm kidding. Her family was reaching out to her when we were at Super Lap Battle USA in Coda, and we're telling them, it's one of those things. We pronounce a lot of names. Sadly, I don't know every person personally, but we do try our hardest to talk to them and make sure we have as much information on them as possible. A lot of people know that S2000 that just walked by. That is, I believe his name is Dustin Williams. He has been building that car. That car is 100% Spoon. To the point, Carla's a Honda fangirl, so she'll understand this. Spoon sent him a plaque. If you pop the hood, that is a Spoon certified car with a Spoon serial number.
So I actually, I must say that Cuban sounds like he's a huge fan himself. I always get flamed because I have an inherent bias towards S2000s and most Hondas that are out there. So I do my best to try to forget my biases towards S2000 since I am a huge S2000 fan myself. But as I'm speaking, we have a Honda CTR on screen that is driven by Carlos Valenzuela. So this car, it's an auto fashion car, and what's cool about this team is actually this team, their shop in San Diego, they always do car show stuff. This is actually their first time doing anything road racing related. They've never built or been to the track until very recently. So I'm personally excited to see what's going to come from this team as they further develop their track car here. And then they also have another car that they're working on for even bigger and better things in the future. So really excited to see what's coming soon for them.
And the auto fashion car, the driver is a very experienced driver. I have never actually seen him in a time attack setting. I don't know, Carla has a little bit more history on it. I'm not sure if he has been in a time attack setting like this, but in his wheel-to-wheel setting, this is somebody that you definitely want to wheel your car. He knows how cars work. He knows how to drive them. Have you driven a race with Carla in the past?
Yeah, so I know quite a few things about Carlos Valenzuela. We are teammates for multiple teams. I think we share the car for 3 or 4 different endurance race teams that we compete in together. We race together in Mexico and endurance racing there as well. Shout out to Zona Centro Competición if you guys are listening from Mexico. And we are getting started here. This is going to be an interesting session. The sun is starting to come out. but we're keeping the temperatures down. So it looks like this is going to be a quick session. We've had 2 other sessions prior to this, so hopefully the track is a little more rubbered in. And I think we might see some quick lap times, maybe a record. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it's nice. You know, it's people always want to be out the very first session of the day, but Carla can attest to this. When you're in Group 1, Session 1, the track is still cold. The sun is not out yet. Right now, if Group 1 was out right at this exact moment with 60-degree weather with the sun kissing the track, I mean, you're talking about record-setting feelings out here. So hopefully, and this is always our hope, the next time Group 1 runs, the weather is the same, the sun is on track, so the tires get good grip, the engines are happy, they're making power. This is exactly what you want to set a fast lap time here at Buttonwillow Raceway Park.
And to follow up with that, we are seeing beautiful weather here this weekend. We're going to have a really fast event this weekend for sure. Today's weather is only going to get up to 63 degrees, and it's currently 54 degrees. So it's still mild, but the sun is coming out, which is actually better for surface grip. Tomorrow, it's only going to be 64 degrees, so it's going to be cool both days. So like Cuban was saying, hopefully record-setting weather this year for us.
This nice, beautiful calm before the storm here. You have all these cars keeping their distance from each other. You know, this is why we love what we do. These drivers understand. If you get close to the guy in front of you, you're just going to hurt your own lap. Everyone wants a little bit of clean space. There's only 17 cars on the track. There's plenty of room. These guys are out here just trying to set fast laps. It does look like the Auto Fashion car is back in, though. Has decided not to start a hot lap, coming in to talk to this team. But we do have that beautiful blue Honda S2000 out there running.
We have a green flag to start the session here. Unfortunately, we have 2 cars that are already in the hot pits here. We had the Auto Fashion CTR that pulled in. Doesn't look like they're going to go back out. Carlos Valenzuela is pulling the car in, not able to compete in this session. And we have Cuban, is that a Subaru down there? I couldn't really see that car. It looks like they're having...
I believe that car came from Colorado. I saw DSX Motorsports post about it. He also has not started a lap. Was out testing yesterday, though, so I know the car can run. But as it is right now in competition, sadly, this is actually a pretty common thing. You'll see a car set an amazing lap time in testing, and then just something always comes up in competition. So it's one of those toss-ups, right? So you have something where you want to run a test day to make sure the car's running well, but then you go do your first lap of competition and something comes up. There's actually one of the Renner cars, Dustin Kent, had finally got his car back together after all the turmoil in the off-season trying to get ready for this, and he blew a transmission in testing. He drove to Buena Park this morning to pick up a new one, so we're hoping he can get out there by the last session of the day, because Renner brought a full multitude of Subarus. I thought I saw 5 cars lined up over at the Renner Center.
Getting a little squirrely on exit, we have that blue Miata getting a little sideways on the sunset. Looks like that's going to be Joshua Enfield.
He is running limited class because he's missing door panels. He registered for street, but the door panels are not OEM, and anyone who knows our class knows anything B-Pill or Ford has to be stock. So he is out there just having a good time trying to set the fastest lap he can. Frankie Ho in the blue Honda S2000 is actually the fastest person in the sector. I know, the 158.824 in his street class S2000. He's not running the car as he preferred. He actually had to completely get rid of all the angle on his wing because of, with the little bit of angle of attack he had, the wing was taller than the roof. And you cannot have a wing taller than the roof. Also, there are some class changes that have happened. So Dustin Williams was supposed to be a street class car in that beautiful Spoon S2000, but we do require registration and insurance. He bought that car as a race chassis. It's never been registered and insured. So he's in limited class. He's out here competing. He wanted to make sure he can compete with us and have a good time. So, I mean, it's great to see him out here. These guys are all out here trying their hardest to run the fastest laps possible. So, big shout out to them, especially in the year 2020 when we weren't able to do anything for these guys to wrench and do everything they can just to make it out here to this competition. It's honestly very humbling as a race organization to see people from all over try their hardest to make it to your events. Without them, we wouldn't be anything. So nothing but love for these competitors.
Basically, hear me. I lost audio on my headset.
All right, so on screen, there's a car there that we don't typically see. That's a Porsche Boxster driven by Jason, car number 718. Looks like he was able to clock a 2:11.955. Congrats to him with that convertible Boxster. That's, again, not typically a car that we see here, but it's awesome to see that variety of cars that we have this weekend. And hopefully at some point we can take a look and walk through the paddock, because Cube and I were looking this morning and there are a lot of cars out there that we have never seen in a time attack setting. For example, there's an S10 here. So that's awesome. I think they're in the next run group, right, Cuban?
That would be correct, yes. And we're really hoping to spend a little bit of time out there at least looking at cars and seeing what's going on. That's the one beautiful thing about the setup we have going now. It's not as big a production. We don't have all the cameras we can do, but our cameras are all wireless, so we have the ability to at least walk through the paddock and look at what's going on. We do see here, it looks like the rental car went off. What happens is when you have a 4 off, you have to come up and get safety checked. These are 2 of my tech guys out there doing their job. 2 of our tech guys out there doing their job, making sure the car is safe to go back out.
Yeah, basically they're just making sure that none of the tires have dismounted or there's not any large panels falling off the car. Just basically safety for the driver, make sure there's a quick check, everything's okay, and if so, looks like everything's okay, so they're sending it back out.
And it does look like Frankie Ho has bettered his time. He just did a 57.9. I believe that is a basically bolt-on NAS 2000, and anyone who's driven an S2000 here knows doing a 57.9 with a relatively stock car is a very fast time.
I happen to know what that's like myself, so that's an excellent time. Congratulations to him, and hopefully we'll see him crack 56s this weekend.
So Therese is out there in Nick Bright's car. She's learning the car. She's actually never driven this car. The car has been living here in California at RS Future, and they've been working on it, doing little work here and there. So I was just talking with Nick Bright a second ago. He just wanted me to know that he is not the one out there in the car, and that is Therese out there really getting used to the car and how it drives. She usually drives a Subaru. She ran Super Lap Battle USA in her STI Type RA, which is actually here right now. I believe she drove it to the event.
Something cool to add to that, Therese also just bought a stock S1000 that she's learning to drive as well. So she's definitely expanding her talent here. She owns a Subaru, she owns a real drive S1000, and she's out here in a real drive car. So that's awesome to see as well.
I will also give her this because I've had the opportunity in my shop to drive many of them. Right-hand drive cars are very difficult to drive. You are so used to your turning points based on your seating position in the car. I was driving a customer's R33 the other day just doing a test drive, and I kid you not, the amount of times that you cross over the white line because you're so used to being on the left side of the road. Now imagine that in a high-speed situation on a racetrack where you know where the apex is and you go to turn in, but you're not on the left side anymore. You're either going completely off or missing the corner.
On screen there, that's Dustin Williams there in the Honda S2000 that Cuban was talking about. That's a full spoon build S2000. So he's actually relatively new to time attack, isn't he, Cuban?
He's relatively new to tracking in general, so I will be very honest with you. This is a competition. We have not mentioned this yet, but we are an SCCA Pro sanctioned time attack body. You cannot just run with us. You have to have an SCCA Pro time attack license. This is not a time trial license. SCCA, just like NASA, they run time trials. That's a different license setup. We're the only time attack org that SEC sanctions us to allow our own rule set and our own setup. But because of that, you have to go through the SEC ranks. Now, Dustin Williams has spent this entire year learning the car, driving, getting the experience needed to run with us. Because we did have people asking, like, hey, I want to run. I think I've done more track days than X person or Y person. But the difference is Dustin Williams has been out every weekend, pumping it out, getting used to the car, understanding the track, being in a competition mindset, and knowing what it's like to be out there with other cars passing with the speed differential. So Dustin Williams is not just new to time attack, he's new to this whole competition setup in general, and I think he's doing a great job.
Another car that's also doing a great job here, Noah Gaither, Enthusiast Class Civic CTR. He's expected to run a high school run, and looks like he came out strong this first session, clocking in at 201.155, so close to clocking a 2-minute flat. If he's able to do that this first session, let's see if he can knock into the sub-2 category. And that's that beautiful CTR on screen there, going through Riverside. Absolutely love that color.
Yeah, I get to be biased for a second. Carlo's an S2000 lover. I happen to drive a brand new Civic Type R every day. It's one of my favorite cars. I am a fanboy. And it's just, like I said, the biggest thing about new cars, people always be like, well, it's a new car, you should see a bunch of them. These cars take time to develop. You know, the first year the FK came out, we saw a bunch. Remember, we did. In 2018, we saw a bunch. But most of them were competitive. People are out there just having a good time. And these cars are getting faster and faster. The reason you see things like Bug-Eye Subarus, S2000s, Evos, all these cars is they've been in the market for so long. The aftermarket support is astronomical. Where you have things like a new Civic Type R, the aftermarket support is still growing every day. So to see cars like Type R Jose, who has a fully built time attack FK8 that he bought and gutted from the get-go. And you have people like the car, Dr. Drew and Graham Downey's car, very well-developed car. It's awesome to see these guys. And as time goes on, as years and years go on, you're going to see these Type Rs, not just in street and enthusiast, limited and unlimited, built to that class because the aftermarket support will be there.
Yeah, and another fun fact for that, also another CTR that went earlier, that was the Auto Fashion USA CTR. Interesting fact about that car, 3 weeks ago, they decided that, hey, we just bought this car, let's make it a time attack car. 3 weeks ago. So they had 3 weeks of development, one test day that didn't go well, because as we all know, if you're running a pace that Carlos Alonso is very capable of doing, you're not going to be able to complete a full lap on the stock code. So had to do a lot of quick things, and it looks like they're able to get them this low and cool weather for all turbo cars out there.
It is the one downfall of a street car, turn into a race car. I think that's why with Jose, Type R Jose's, you'll notice his doesn't even have an air conditioning. He bought the car and took out the AC, the condenser, everything. I'm pretty sure he can run lap after lap, and he's on a pure turbo setup. The car's actually capable of well over 500 horsepower. It was dyno well over 500. They backed it down to 450 within the 430 torque range just to be reliable because the K20C1, though it's an amazing motor, you're not trying to put a rod through the block on a $10,000+ crate engine. So they're out here doing a great job. It's just great to see newer cars over and over. And bigger than that, I think it's the juxtaposition of the old guard, the S2000s, and the new cars, the new Type Rs, the C7 Corvettes, all these cars that we have never seen out here before. It's such a night and day difference. I didn't even know I knew the word juxtaposition until about 7 seconds ago.
Right, and another car that everyone's been kind of struggling to get together, it's kind of been a race between see who can figure out the new Supra and get that car to lay down some laps. So far, Jackie has done a wonderful job at it, but Matt Rahana in that Art of Attack Supra is quickly catching up. So I think we'll see a stiff competition between the Supras as well. And we also have that new Pink Ribbon Racing Supra earlier this day. That was driven by Nick Romano. So it's great to see a lot of new cars out here.
I agree. No, I agree. You have Jackie Ding, who has probably the most developed A90 Supra out there. And, you see him out there, you think these words, right? You're like, well, he has the most developed A90 Supra out there, period. He should be winning. The outside-the-box A-Series NSX. Now, anyone who's followed NSXs knows it's not that outside of the box. It is bastardizing a car to purists, but at the end of the day, the car is fast. And if I'm not mistaken, is that the Auto Fashion car back on track right now, right behind that beautiful gray FK8?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it is. So it looks like whatever issue they were having in the Auto Fashion CTR, they were able to quickly address it, and Carlos Valenzuela is out there once again behind the wheel. Little time left of the session, but hopefully we can see them clock in a fast lap time. All right, so on screen there, we had that Subaru BRZ driven by Aaron Gong. He's an enthusiast class driver, car number 559. Hopefully his team is listening to the live stream because unfortunately we are not picking up lap times from him. So Aaron Gong's pit crew, please make sure that you guys get a lap timer on that car so we can pick up lap times for you.
No.
So we do have cars starting to line up for Group 4, so that's good. That means this session is starting to come down. Did Carlos Valenzuela pass start finish? Did I miss that? He had to have, right? So he has to be on a flyer, but I don't see time unless my transponder, my timing and scoring is up to date. I'll check right now.
Yep, so we actually have him on screen there. This is going to be the last chance that he has. We have the checkered flag out, so this is the only chance that we have to get down a lap for the session. So he is fully sending a strong exit there on bus stop and basically doing what he can to manage a little bit of mild push that they were having with the car yesterday on corner entry, mid and corner exit. So hopefully he's able to manage that with the help of Graham Downey and Track Auto Spec Sports for helping them dial in their alignment last night.
And they're on a brand new setup. So they're on the Titan 7 18 by 10.7 wheels in the front. They're on a 295 AO52 in the front. And anyone who's ever driven one of these cars knows that having a reverse stagger is everything, but the alignment has a lot to do with how the car feels mid-corner. You're going to have a lot of grip in any front-wheel drive car with a 295 tire, but how you align the car really makes a difference on how the car turns in, how it feels mid-corner. Anyone watching cars race will tell you that I can do that. I've definitely been one of those people like, oh, that can't be that hard. But there's so many different levels to how the car turns and how it feels mid-corner grip, mid-corner speed. All of these things make a big difference.
All right, so we have the checkered flag out. Looks like that Auto Fashion USA CTR was able to cross the finish line. However, we are not picking up any lap times for that car. So if anyone from the Auto Fashion team is listening to the live stream, please make sure that you get a lap timer on the car so that we can pick up the lap times. On screen there, that's Frankie Ho in that S2000. He's been really laying it down. It looks like that's, I think, a naturally aspirated S2000. And Mike King is out there adjusting tire pressures for him. Looks like he has a new quarantine hairstyle as well. It's interesting to see a lot of people that we haven't seen in a year since the quarantine because a lot of people that once had short hair now all have long hair. So,
He hasn't shaved either, but his face is still smooth like a baby's butt. So,
well, that's excellent. Great look, Mike King. And hopefully at some point you hear us talking about you on the live stream. Finishing up the session, that's Noah Gaither again in that CTR, beautiful color. He's an enthusiast class car. And they were able to put down a 2-minute flat. So he's at a 2-minute.554, only half a second away from clocking in a sub 2. So that's an excellent time for that car considering it's an enthusiast class. So looking forward to see if he's able to crack into sub 2 territory in our next session.
So the enthusiast overall record is a 55 or a 54. That was set long ago. But when you're talking about front-wheel drive enthusiast cars, a majority of them never even got under the 2-minute mark, in all of our history. So anytime you have an enthusiast front-wheel drive car here in the 59s, 58s, they're really laying it down. The enthusiast class is a very entry-level class for Global Time Attack. There are other series that have a class that's similar, but they're allowed more modifications because Global Time Attack sees it as an entry-level class. We actually have a rule written that if you win more than 50% of your races or a points championship in the enthusiast class, you can't run it the next year. This is for people to get in, get their feet wet, and see, is Time Attack something I want to get into? I wouldn't call it like a feeder class. It's more of a, if you're in it, you're in it. If you're not, you're not. We understand because Time Attack may not be for everybody. But a lot of people will come out here for the first time, get bit, the bug will hit them, and within 2 years, we'll see them in a car that's fully built. We're like, what happened? When did you do that? And they're like, that one event I ran at Buttonwillow, and then here I am with every dime in my bank account missing. My wife left me, and I lost my job, but I'm out here to set records.
So we are just finishing up that session here. I'll go ahead and go over our lap times for the session. We have Franco, car number 838 in street class. He was the fastest of the session. He ran a 157.967. Noah Gaither, car number 528. He's an enthusiast class car, ran a 2-minute.554. Jason Paraga, car number 420, enthusiast class as well. He ran a 201.167. Joshua Enfield, car number 3, that's a limited class car. He ran a 201.545. Dustin Williams, car number 95, he's a limited class S2000. He ran a 201.6. Jason Bengalay, sorry if I'm butchering your last name there, car number 718, street class, ran a 201.70.
I don't want to cut you off, but I have to. These two cars on camera right now, these are brothers. This is Kevin and Kyle Phillips. We ran the Ridge Motorsport Park earlier this year for the first time. The Pacific Northwest was so happy to have us. They came out like crazy. These two brothers were like, look, thanks for coming out. We're going to come run with you guys. This is an LS-powered Bel Air. That's an LS-powered S10. They're Kevin and Kyle Phillips. I want everyone out there to give these guys some love because these two vehicles are exactly what I'm talking about, the bug, when I said that. Kevin in the Bel Air didn't even run Time Attack. He ran SCCA's event and was like, holy crap, I need to go run a Time Attack with these guys. So they towed all the way here from Washington. Not that that's far, but it's a good tow. And they're out here competing with us, and it's amazing to see. So here we have the renter car. I believe that is Carly right there in car 206. She was practicing yesterday. Next to her is our hairdresser friend, Brett Nicoletti, and his Mazda Miata. These are all people. Brett has been a staple at Global Time Attack. He's always supported us. On the side of not doing hair, he also is a part supplier for my business, so I'm always glad to see him out here, just killing it with his car.
We are seeing a lot of variety in this Group 4 session here. On camera, that S10, and we also have a Volvo 360, which is a wagon, so that's really cool to see out here as well. I just drove a Volvo for the first time as a rental car. Had to go to Florida, and gotta say it was a pretty nice car, nice street car. It's interesting to see them out here on a racetrack, but hey, I like it. I like the variety that we're seeing this year.
Well, they're not only the safest cars out there. No, they've become much sportier. I mean, even back in the day, Volvo's been known to make a few sporty cars here and there, and it's just really cool to see people take whatever chassis they love and just turn it into a time attack one, right? That's the thing about time attack. I mean, we have an S10 truck and a Bel Air on the track, okay? If you ever told me that we're going to have a Bel Air out here, a murdered out Bel Air running laps at Buttonwillow, I'd have laughed at you in the face. But hey, apparently I was wrong.
Did you see it take out too? It looks incredibly fast. I'm interested to see more details on that car, so hopefully we can sneak down there and talk to the team, see what's going on with that Bel Air.
Another staple in time attack, Acura Integra. I mean, the DC2 chassis has been a car that has been running time attack since it's been in production. I mean, you had cars like the Sport Car Motion ITR that held the limited record for quite some time. And, you know, people thought front-wheel drive would fall off as time attack progressed, but front-wheel drive has just gotten faster. I mean, William L. Young's Honda Civic still holds the records at more tracks than I can think of. It is version 1 PC tuning Honda Civic. Version 2, I believe, is basically done, but with COVID and with 2020, the borders are still closed. So we are really missing Chris Borsman. We're really missing James Howard. We're really, really missing Will. All these guys that came from North to compete with us, we love those guys to death. We're really hoping 2021 brings some time when these guys can just come out here and set fast lap times again.
On the screen there, that's Joshua Reyes. That's car number 7. That's Honda 1000.
So it does look like that Volvo did have a little bit of a dirt excursion through bus stop. That is probably one of the most interesting complexes. That right there is Mr. Phillips in his S10 being followed by his brother. I will be honest with you, they're calling Kevin Phillips. Kevin is the one that owns the S10 because his IG is Kev Bob Fab, so that's Kevin. Kyle owns the Bel Air. They're both flying. It looks like on speed-wise, those cars are very equal to each other. They kept the same gap with each other the whole way. I believe when I was talking to Kyle, he'll tell you that Kevin is the older one and Kevin is the faster one, but Kyle's out there chasing his brother, so that's fantastic.
Starting the session strong here. Joshua Reyes clocking in a 2:02.270. So close to him in that sub-2 mark there. Mark Solis, car number 333 in his class. He clocked in at 208.494. There's Joshua Reyes on screen again. Sending it in that Honda 1000. So far we have car number 17. Ivan Carl Antonio, he clocked in a 210.630. Stephen Tang, car number 32, that's a street class car. He clocked in at 217.608. Brett Nicoletti clocking in at 218.415. Coming down the front straight, we have the S10 and the Bel Air. Let's see what they're walking for the first lap times of this session. Kyle Phillips able to clock a 2:16.842.
Yeah, it does look like Kevin may not have a transponder that's ticking, or he did not put it on the car. His times were ticking yesterday, so we'll make sure he gets someone over there to check it. Anyone who's driven this track, I mean, I'll use Ferris as an example. Ferris, every track he's gone to this year, he's ran fastest time of the day, almost every track. He came here immediately after his 2 practice laps, which were very fast, came up and said, man, this track is not easy. You see it on paper and you think this is going to be a cakewalk track, and when you come here, he's like, I am just in a wrong line everywhere. So this track takes a lot of time to get used to. It has a lot of little idiosyncrasies to go fast. There's little areas of this track, and if you don't know the tips and the tricks, you're losing tenths of a second every corner. When we're talking about 13 corners, you're talking about well over 1 to 2 seconds of lap time you can lose just based on not knowing little things about the track.
That Bel Air on screen. I can't believe it clocked a 2:16 the first lap of the session, and that's in a Bel Air. I don't even know what that must feel like to drive a Bel Air around Buttonwillow, but I'm sure it's exciting. I'm sure it's fun for him. That's actually Kyle Phillips, part of the 6 behind the wheel. Looks like Mark Phillips found some time, 2:05.270. Stephen Tang also found some time in the second lap. Car number 32, he found a 2:05.703. Ivan Carl Antonio also found some time in the second lap, 2:07.683. Pedro is actually driving that Volvo out there. He was able to cross the finish line, but looks like he had some issues during that lap. So let's see what he runs for the second lap time around here. Kyle Phillips pulling in the hot pits. So we didn't get any time for Kevin Phillips in that S10 truck, so hopefully Kyle can run up this transponder on his S10 truck.
Look, listen, this car looks like something that you would see cruising down the boulevard on Sunday, okay? I'm not even saying that in any kind of negative way. It is amazing to see this car out here. They're actually working on both these cars. Kevin is going to do a full roll cage and a new setup on his car for next year. I'm pretty sure Kyle has been bit by the serious bug, so we're going to see some upgrades on this Bel Air. What a day to be alive. Time Attack is just American Time Attack, guys. If you're watching International Time Attack, there are the same cars all the time, and I'm not hating on it by any means. But internationally, slicks are not running. People always ask us what the difference between us and, let's say, a World Time Attack or us in the org is. We love what we do, but we are American Time Attack. Our highest class, we run slicks, guys. We want to see what we can do on the fastest lap possible. You don't need a shredded tire in the class. But you also don't see pushrod cars. You don't see what you would call a Grand Touring car international. You don't see Corvettes. You don't see these other cars. So it's awesome to see just the different amount of manufacturers we study, chassis styles, drivers. Every year that goes on, it gets crazier and crazier. Now, when I thought I'd seen it all, well, here we are with a S10 and a Bel Air, Buttonwillow CW13.
And that's what it looks like to go through bus stop in an S10 truck.
So the fastest time of the session does still belong to Joshua Reyes in that beautiful white Honda S2000. He is an enthusiast class car at a 2 minute flat, 2 minute .2. So he's out there sitting down some pretty good enthusiast class lap times. For the most part, we have these guys out here running consistent laps. That's actually something you will notice. The enthusiast class cars, they're not as aggressively set up, so they can usually run 3, 4, 5 laps at a time. Street class, 1 to 3. Limited class, usually 1. Unlimited class, 1. So it's nice to see these enthusiast guys out here just pushing the car nonstop.
Mark Solis able to clock in a car number 333. He was able to clock in a 204.0. Really close to hitting that 203 mark there. Looks like Pedro Ontiveros, car number 619, that's that Volvo V60. He was able to find a 205.390. I would say that that's a really quick time for a Volvo station wagon.
And as you can see with the timing and scoring that we have up, a lot of people do ask us what the colors next to the times are. This is the easiest way for you guys to differentiate classes. As we go by speed index, you're going to see different colors on times. So street class is green, enthusiast class is yellow, limited class is blue, and unlimited class is black. Pro comp is the class that a standard car does not fit in. Either A, it wasn't a production car, or B, it was a tube chassis car, something out here to just show you what the car is capable of. These are all the times you're going to see. But in case you're ever wondering, like, hey, I see these two cars, they're very close in time with each other. Are they in the same class? You just got to look at the color next to timing and scoring, and that'll tell you right then and there.
We have a lot of cars on their final lap here, and one of which Joshua Morales, I saw him get pretty sideways on the exit of one stop. Like he's trying really hard to take that sub 2 category. He's currently sitting at a 2:02, so really close to hitting that 1:59 mark. Brett Nicoletti going down the front straight into Sunrise. Looks like he was able to clock in at 213.117.
This session is hot for about 4 more minutes. After this, we'll have the Group 1 guys, the fast cars, lining back up to get back on track for their second session. With the sun being out, Group 1 probably had the worst conditions we've had of the day. It was very cool, and it was 100% cloud cover. The sun was barely starting to poke out. So these Group 1 cars are going to come out and have a better track than they did the first time they came out. So I would suspect that we're going to see some lap times drop significantly.
Kyle Phillips just clocked in a 212.712. That's in that Bel Air. I have to know. I got to talk to Kyle Phillips about this. What is it like to run a 212 in a Bel Air? I'm really curious. I have to know.
You know, I would just suspect that car has some pretty cool suspension setups in it, because I've actually been lucky enough to drive a Bel Air with an LS in it, but it was 100% a stock suspension car, right? So I'm Cadillacing on the freeway, just so I don't think I could run a 235 in a car like that, let alone a 212. So that car looks very planted. Also, it is his first time ever here at the track, so I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the weekend we have him in the 207 range. Or just more comfort with the comfort level they get here. A lot of competitors here know each other. They remember people from Washington. They're going to talk to their competitors, see where they can move on, where they can grab some time to save. So I think we're looking at a really, really quick day for those guys by the end of the competition.
Bobby Velasquez driving that CTR car number 999. Looks like he was able to put down his first lap time of the session with a 2:15.153. Also, Austin Shipley, car number 669 in his class, he was able to clock his first lap time of the day with a 2:10.357.
Austin Shipley is another enthusiast class on a Civic Type R. I only remember the name from the Type R groups, so that's, there's my bias of the name. But he's out here trying to set down some laps. We do have quite a few guys out here in enthusiast class in the FK8s, and I think it's a really good enthusiast chassis. People always show up in the hot hatches, right? You got people in Civic Type Rs. We have Brett running the Subaru line. He's very well known for this. He does this at every event. He tries to take bus stop without touching the brakes, and that's what happens. Rally Ready Race School is in Texas, Brett. Make sure to come to Dakota with us, and you can visit them, but that is definitely not the place where you want to do it.
Brett Nicoletti's still out in the dirt there, waiting for the green light so that he can get back out on the track safely back into the pits.
And here you see on camera all the Group 1 guys getting ready to grid. We do have some cones up with grid numbers. This makes it a lot easier for the teams to know exactly where they need to be. These are all the Group 1 guys, the fastest guys out there, so we're going to see what kind of lap times we set. At the very front, I see Ferris. I believe Sean is going to be gridded in front of him. Sean is probably going to be coming to the grid close to a couple minutes before start. His car is only capable of running a lap, so he wants to keep the tire warmers on his slicks for as long as possible before he comes out. Anyone who doesn't know our rule set is we only allow tire warmers in unlimited class. The downside about Sean's car is he can't put tire warmers on the grid because the car is very difficult to get up and down off of jack stands. It takes 3 to 5 minutes, just the way the flat bottom is set up and everything. So they're in their garage. They'll come out probably with a couple minutes ready to go so you can go out there and set a lap.
Looks like Team Nicholas Zambrano and Corey Taguchi, car number 9, they were able to clock in their first lap of the day with a 2:07.152. And I just happened to notice that Bobby Velasquez, car number 999, was able to drop, I believe, almost 3 seconds between his second and his third lap. He ran a 2:12.230, so looks like he found a lot of time. Whatever you did that last lap, Bobby, keep doing it.
And to anybody watching, everything you see, all these times going up, this is our production crew putting in the hard work remotely, trying to make sure that we have the best production we can for you guys. To anyone just tuning in, 2020 has been a very hard year. Due to COVID and the fact that some jobs do not allow people to travel based on what they do, our entire production team could not make it to Buttonwillow to do this like we usually do. So we have our faithful camera guys here. They've been running events with us all year. We have our producer in Portland, Oregon, just laying it down. And we have Ryan Randalls out of Colorado taking care of everything he can to make sure that everything you see on screen, all of these graphics, everything that we show you is as crisp as it can be. And, you know, huge shout out to these guys working their butts off, not even here at the track with us. We're blessed to work with such great people and everything we do, along with all the GTA staff and all the competitors that are here. So we know 2020 has been a hard year, but let's be real with each other. Everyone that's out here doing this is why we do it. We work our butts off to make it out to these events, and so do these guys. And we're so glad that we could still put this on for you guys.
We are getting ready for Group 1, Session 2. We're pre-gridded on screen there. That's John Prescott. That's part of a 414, that Eagle 9. Love that car. Gabriel should be car number 881. We had a pretty clean session for the first session of the day, Group 1. Typically, what we've seen in the past is the first session, a lot of cars tend to have problems, fluids on the track. So in the past, we've seen the first session of the day not go as quite as clean as it did. I was quite surprised myself. A lot of fast times already for the day, so everyone's back out here. A little more sunshine out, possibly a little more grip. We'll see if we're able to see some faster lap times. In the back there, that's Sunvo. That's that Honda C1000. He just rewrapped the car, so I had troubles telling who that quite was, but that's Sunvo, car 991. He's come a long way here at Global Time Attack, and we always like to see what he's going to do next, but Sunvo has put a lot of development into his car. We're excited to see how fast he can go. I think he was definitely in the sub 150 mark last year with us, but I am confident he's going to go even faster this year.
All right, guys, so it does look like we have Group 1, Session 2 hot. Group 1, Session 2 is hot. David Hagsma, Sean Cagle, and Ferris have already crossed start finish to go and get their hot laps running, followed by JC Monet. Remember, these guys all are out here running Yokohama tires. Yokohama is the lead sponsor of Global Time Attack and Super Lab Battle. Garrett Advancing Motion, Raised Wheels, Ignite Race Fuel, Competition Clutch, CSF Radiators, Race Shape, Meister Watches, and Stop Tech Brakes. Without these guys, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So make sure you keep an eye on them. And if you have any questions on our sponsors or how to get in contact with them to see if they can help you out, don't hesitate to ask. So out here right now, guys, we have David Hagsma, Sean Cagle, Ferris Khartoumi, JC Monet, Gabriel Shadid. Sean Krebsbach is out here to try and get more in touch with the street class guys. So this is Sean's first time back since last year. This is obviously not a home track for him. So he is someone, though, that no matter who you talk to, they'll tell you this guy's a robot. He is just so capable of going everywhere and setting fast times. I actually do not think that Jackie has beat him at a single midlife event this year. If you look across the board, every event that Sean K's been at, Jackie has taken second place. So to see Jackie ahead of him here, that's just crazy. It's awesome. All right, guys, so let me bring you some time. Hagsma just did a 41.0. Sean Cagle at a 42.7. So once again, his fastest, the first session was a 43, which I believe is the fastest ever run. Just did a 42.7 like that. And Ferris just did a 45.6, which would probably put him in the lead. Oh, right behind Amir in limited class for second place.
Now's the time to walk over and move on. It's really pretty watching on the first race. Observation sounds. I wouldn't miss it. I would be out there if I wasn't in the tower.
So Sean is getting closer in touch. If the record had not dropped in the first session, he actually just reset Marcus in time to 48.1. So we have Amir at a 46.4. We have Jackie at a 47.7, and Sean at a 48.1. So between Jackie and Sean right now, it is very close. And I know both of them are capable to get to the top Amir is at, but Amir did have the advantage. He gets closer here. He got to test it.
Car number 81, Damian, he's running that Renner Subaru, starting strong with a 147.353. That's a limited class time. JC Monet also starting strong with a 148.617. Car number 881, Gabriel Shadid, that's another limited class car, starting strong with 148.696. Dustin Williams, 50 limited class, he ran a 148.823. Cable Rosenberg unlimited class Viper, that's a 149.742. Sunbo starting out with a 152.070. Rosberg in that Viper, car number 39. Sunflow going back and strong, and that newly wrapped S2000. Here, in that LS-powered E36 M3, we're actually not picking up any lap times for him in this session. So if anyone here at the track is near Amir's pit, please make sure that they put a transponder on that car so we can pick up his lap times. Right, Sunboat finding about 3 seconds. He just clocked in a 1:52.843. Looks like David Hatma is doing either a mid-session cooldown or a cooldown to complete this session for him.
Yeah, that does look like end of his lap is going in right now, but so let's see if he's going to go back out and set another one. He did start a flyer, but it does look like he stopped.
So something interesting here, Neil Rosenberg, car number 39, that's a new Viper. He's already put down 5 laps for this session, so not very many cars here at a time attack event are capable of doing that, but he's been able to consistently run in the 47 and 48 range. His fastest lap time of the session was a 1:47.172. Dustin Sarah also able to do 5 laps in that Rockstar Garage S2000. That's a limited class car, 48 and 150 range. His fastest lap time of the session is still 1:48.833.
You know, and they decided to put that car together specifically.
Downey piloting the car number 35. Also, 2 cars that we haven't seen in a long time. 7 dual competition clutch, CSF radiators, race shapes, Meister watches, and Stop Tech. We thank you very much for allowing us to make this great event happen. Another car that we have out here is Tang's E46 M3. He is actually sharing the car with the car's owner, Mark David, who's piloting the car this session today. Tang is out behind the wheel for the second session of the day.
Sorry, the first group in their second session run faster lap time, Carla, just from the fact that the sun has been beating on it since the end of that whole first group. So I think we're going to see some really fast lap times this session. And honestly, as the day goes on, it really does not look like the weather is going to turn very warm at all. So the track will obviously get warmer as the day goes on, as the sun continues to beat on it. There is a threshold where you could get a greasier tire, but overall, I think these guys have some amazing track time ahead of them.
Remember about 3 or 4 years ago, Cuban, when we had that one year where we kept having random bouts, where one session it would be completely dry, and then the next session it was pouring rain. So it was actually quite unfortunate for certain run groups because they kept encountering a lot of rain for their session.
You know what's funny? I do, and I actually had thoughts about. We were in Washington earlier this year for our inaugural Ridge Motorsport Park event. We did not do a live stream. It was an awesome inaugural event, and sadly Carla couldn't be there with us, but Amir is about to go out, right? The session before, blue skies, beautiful track. Amir gets on track, torrential downpour. I'm talking for 12 straight minutes of just torrential downpour. Amir comes off, his whole session ends. Next session, blue skies, clear track. So that's obviously very common in the Pacific Northwest, but we did have a year here where it was like sunny, rainy, sunny, rainy. And we're here in, the center of California where the weather tends to stay static. The weather is always so static you could smell the cows 12 miles that way. So this year it seems to be static in a positive way.
On screen here, Johnson Mack starting strong, headed down the front straight here, starting his first hot lap of the session.
It does look like all the leaders got fresh, clean track. It looked like Jackie Ding isn't out there, or I missed him, because directly behind him here was Kevin Burke. So it does look like Kevin Burke will have a chance to lay down a lap. They were, say, 3 car lengths away from each other, so let's see how that sits when they come across start-finish. Amir was talking to him between sessions and some text mensajes, and he was on track to do a little bit of a faster lap. To go backwards here, Amir is actually not crossing. Here's Kevin Burke right here. I don't know where Amir went, but I can tell you Kevin just did a 49.825. I have lost Amir, guys. He is nowhere to be found. My guess is somewhere around the S's or the sweeper around the backside, something happened. Lucky for us, I always make fun of him because he always lets me down at this track. So at least he's already laid down a super fast lap time. But whatever happened to Amir, I hope it's nothing too serious if he's able to make his way off track.
Nick Romano starting the session out strong with a 1:49.249. That's in that car number 842 Toyota Supra, that pink ribbon racing, beautiful car. Matt Rahana Also starting at 150.163. That's also in another new Supra. He's in street class. That's car number 97. That's the Art of the Cat red Supra that's out here.
Yeah, you have Kevin Burt sitting with 49.8, and Nick Romano immediately surpassed him with that 49.2. Matt Rohana is, I mean, he's immediately on pace with that 50.1. So these street class guys are flying.
Let's just talk about something that just happened right here. We just saw Tom Tang crossing the finish line in that E46 M3 with Graham Downey right behind him in the CTR. Graham just clocked it with a 154.804. That is a wicked quick time for CTR, I must say. And Tom Tang, really quick time in the 153.724. That's a 300 horsepower, pretty stock E46. So Tom Tang out there wheeling it. Really nice bus stop right there. Very consistent driver. I personally know him from racing against him and Graham Downey in endurance racing, so it's awesome to see them both come out here and put down some killer lap times in time attack. On screen here, Kyle Robinson, that's car number 6, that BMW 1M.
That BMW 1M also has an RS Future Wing on it. I was going to sit here and point every car that has an RS Future Wing on it. I swear it's every car at the event is what it feels like. I believe that's a JMP AutoWorks 1M out there. Here we have Matt Rohana. It looks like Amir did make it back in, which is fantastic news, but there's no one there checking on the car. So we'll go ahead and see what's going on with that. But I'm not sure if Amir's just trying to follow Matt out. Maybe he just made a mistake or had a good off and he needs to go get checked out. He is going straight. I don't know if he's trying to exit or if he wants to be sent back out. So we'll find out for you as soon as we know. He is. Okay, guys. He does want to go back out, so they're going to find him a gap in there as soon as there's some space, and he'll have a chance to go right back out in his intersect. We don't know what happened to him, but my guess is he had a good little off. Right there, we have Tony. He's actually looking around the car. Anytime you get 4 off, one of our tech guys is going to look around the car and make sure no body panels are loose, nothing is falling off, nothing that's unsafe for you or other competitors, and they'll just send you right back out.
Also in the hot pits adjusting tire pressures, that's Kyle Robinson back in that 1M. He was able to clock in a 151.580. That's a wicked quick time for that car, so it's exciting to see. Looks like he's going back out after a tire pressure change. Let's see if he can go even a little bit faster here. Johnson back, finding a 156.757.
Yeah, these guys are setting some good lap times. Kevin Burt, 49.8 in a street class legal Corvette. I mean, that's definitely flying for what the car is. They are kind of self-restricted. What I mean by that is that car from the factory runs a 335 tire in the back. He's stuck with 295s all around because that's our street class limitations. So obviously, if you choose to run a wide body vet in street, we do not allow Z06s in the street, obviously, but if you want to run a Grand Sport, you are self-limiting yourself, so you have to really work around that fact. But he's out there setting some really fast lap time.
And we saw the car number 76 Honda Prelude, owned by Corey Wells, driven by Will Dries. We saw them just pit in. Unfortunately, we didn't get any lap times for them. Looks like they don't have the transponder on their car, so hopefully they have figured that out and put the transponder on. Looks like they're having some clean laps, but they're not got it. So, guys, put your transponder on the car, please. Other honorable mention here. Let's take a look. Car number 29, Henry Lamb. That's a beautiful black RX-7, and it's in enthusiast class. He's always into the sub-2 range. Just talking a 2-minute.106. So that's a really, really nice time for an enthusiast class car.
Yeah, Henry Lamb is out here. He has ran with us in the past. He did make sure the car was enthusiast legal. He wasn't sure what class he was going to run. Meanwhile, Amir is starting another flyer. So let's see if he can surpass that 46. This session is screaming for 45. So hopefully he can get it all together and work it from there. But he did just go through start, finish, and start another time lap.
The fastest lap of the session still belongs to Nick Romano, car number 842. That's at Pink Ribbon Racing and Indotech Motorsports Toyota Supra. Still fastest of the session with a 149.249.
Over there in the background, you see Amir going through Riverside. Anyone who hasn't driven this track, Riverside is a nice bank right-hander. You can carry a lot of speed, but it is still very technical. It's aero dependent also. So, the amount of speed you can carry back there just comes down to you as a driver and the setup on the car. We'll see what kind of lap times he makes when he makes it through Phil Hill Sweeper and the S's. The back section over there, the S's and the back straight, though it is actually a shorter section than the front straight, actually has the highest speeds of the track. You exit the sweeper and go into the S's at a much higher rate of speed than you would coming through Sunset onto the front straight. So that's where cars will see their highest speeds. And probably the trickiest part of this whole track is getting that last corner right. That corner has bitten more competitors than I can tell you. Turn in early, you push off into the dirt. Turn in late, you get sideways into the dirt. And it looks like Amir did not finish his lap. So Amir has not set a lap time in this session. Maybe there's an issue with the car. He is pulling it in to hopefully get that figured out. There's no way that he's done for the weekend with a 146 on his first lap. So Kevin Burke just did a 49.685. That is going to be his fastest of this session.
And also to mention Kevin Burke in that Corvette Grand Sport, he has done 5 laps already. So that's awesome to see that he's able to get that many laps on the car and find his fastest lap, 5 laps into the session.
And Vincent Del Campo just set his fastest lap at a 158.264. Always gets the honorable mention. Vincent Del Campo's got to be a fan favorite. Anyone that watched our event at CODA or any other live stream he's been on, I think I get more messages about that EG hatchback than I do about the rocket ships that are there. So he is by far a fan favorite, and it's good to see him consistently going faster. I think these drivers will tell you that they truly do love these Yokohama tires. We're blessed to be a Yokohama tire sponsor organization that is our spec tire supplier. Street class and limited class run the Yokohama A052, probably the grippiest 200 treadwear tire you could ever find. And our unlimited guys run Yokohama Slicks, the A005. They are all, I believe, on the soft compound here at this event. So these guys are out here setting some blistering times. You don't see people switching tires on day one. I remember when we had open tires, just depending on what you brought, people would run a set of tires for maybe 2 sessions and already swap, 4 sets of tires at an event. You're going to have some competitors setting fast laps on the same set of tires for the whole event, and other guys just putting on a new set for day 2. So big shout to Yokohama Tires for sponsoring us, giving us these quality tires to run in. Not only that, having their big rig here, swapping tires and mounting and balancing for competitors themselves. So things are going really well with Yokohama. I'd also like to give a huge shout out to Garrett Advancing Motion, Ray's Wheels, Ignite Race Fuel, Competition Clutch, CSF Radiators, Race Shapes, Meister Watches, and Stop Tech Brakes. These people help us do what we do, and they help our competitors go fast. So without them, we wouldn't be the same. Here we have the Session 2 Group 2 times, guys. So Nick Romano is leading this session with a 149.249 in his street class car. Kevin Burke is just behind him, about 4/10 off with a 149.685. It's pretty funny to think that 49 is not even going to get you on the podium here this year for street class. I don't even know what to think about that, to be honest. Our three top competitors, the slowest time is a 48 so far. So these guys with the 49s and 50s, even though they're flying, they still have some time to make up to try and get on that podium. Tom Tang, with the very first time he's driven that is that an E36 or an E46, Carla?
That would be an E46 M3.
So Tom Tang with his E46 M3 at a 153.724, first time driving the car. Graham Downey with a 154.8 in his CTR. Johnson Mack in the fan favorite FDRX7 at a 156. The biggest fan favorite car, Vincent Del Campo, at a 58.2. Henry Lamb in his beautiful enthusiast class FDRX7 at a 2 flat. And Amir running a 7-minute 54-second, what we'd expect. No, if you guys wonder that, Amir never completed a lap. He got caught off track. He came back into the pits, and he didn't actually cross the timing and scoring loop for 7 minutes. So obviously that's not a legitimate lap time. It's just how timing and scoring played out.
We still have Graham Downey and Vincent Del Campo out on track, still turning laps. Graham Downey consistently in the 154 to low 155 range. His fastest lap time of the session is a 154.804.
All right, guys, this is actually a car that Will Watawankuri. Okay, so I'll let Carla say his name.
Watawankuri.
Will brought this car along with Hagsma's car. This is a beautiful piece of machinery. And behind it is probably one of the baddest time attack cars you'll ever see. But this is a car that you're not going to see very often. You don't see these in the States at all. I'm not even going to try and tell you what it is because I'm just going to be wrong. I know it's a Lancia, but I can't tell you exactly what it is. I can tell you I saw him rebuild one on Wheeler Dealers like 5 years ago. This is Hagsma's car. This car is the one that's going to be shooting the Triangle sub 40 at this event. I mean, that is a beautiful R35. Anyone that's followed us has known that Hagsma's been coming here for a while, and we didn't see him for a year. We were wondering what was going on, and he was just completely redoing his GTR. This thing is an absolute machine. We have not seen a very, very modified R35 since the Life Motorsport car. So it is great to see this car out here. The R35 is not the most popular chassis for time attack. It is a heavy car. Anyone who owns one of these or has tracked one of these will tell you these cars are heavy. They're big girls. They are fun to drive. They do great work, but to compete with them at the highest level is difficult. Cole Powelson and Life Motorsport will tell you they have the fastest R35 time ever at City Motorsport Park with World Time Attack. So the amount of time and effort it takes to make an R35 fast is just incredible. Here we have Group 3 lining up. There's the Spoon Sports accurate TSX. There's Therese outside, which means Nick Bright is going to be the one driving it this time. Nick is the owner of this car. He's been running those for quite a few years. He actually owns a TSX Type R. It's actually an Accord Euro R, so it's not a TSX, but he also owns an Accord Euro R that he's run with us. So he's a huge fan of the right-hand drive TSX chassis. That's Nick right there getting in the zone. Nick is a little bit more comfortable driving these right-hand drive cars as he owns more right-hand drive cars than I can tell you. So he understands the feeling of being on that side, where turning is, how it feels. So we're probably going to see faster lap times out of Nick just out of the comfort of the vehicle, but Therese is definitely going to lay down some fast laps by the time the event is over.
And that's car number 202. That's Christian Bussell driving the Subaru WRX.
This looks like a pretty well done car right here. I believe he runs NASA in this car. I'm not sure which class he runs with, but it is a time trial car. It is a very, very beautiful, well done car.
Looks like we have a few cars that aren't making it to this session, group 3, session 2. This is going to be Dustin Williams with that car number 95 Honda 2000. Joshua Enfield on screen here in that number 3 Mazda Miata. We saw him laying down some nice laps earlier this morning in the first session. Frankie Ho doing a wonderful job driving that NA powered S2000 out here. He was originally going to bring his Miata, but instead he brought his S2000, and I think he made a wonderful choice. I'm sure he's bummed for the reasons that he didn't bring his Miata, but hey, you can't complain. Bringing a nice S2000 out here to compete instead, not a terrible day for him.
Well, and like a lot of these guys, you'll be able to attest to this. A lot of people own multiple track cars, and if something happens and he can't make it in the Miata, at least he'll be able to bring the S2000. There, again, we have the Auto Fashion FK8 Honda Civic Type R. I hope we can get some good lap times out of them this time. Hopefully they have the whole transponder thing figured out. Like Carlos said, this car was built over 3 weeks. This is not the easiest car to build in 3 weeks. There's a lot of work to be done. Anyone who owns one of these will tell you that they do have overheating issues when being pushed to the limit. When you in stock trim, they do a great job, but once you start making power, modifying, the heat starts to come up. They have a beautiful CSF radiator. CSF is one of our sponsors, guys, so it's good to see them with that high quality part in there. I was looking over the car. It's got PCI seat mounts, a beautiful seat, a very pretty driver, a full bolt and roll bar from Evasive Motorsports. This car is very well set up. The Voltex wing. Overall, I think it's a beautiful car, and I think we're going to see them be able to set down some quick laps.
Rumor has it that we have the most beautiful hair in time attack with this driver here, Carlos Valenzuela. I did receive an update from the team and what happened to them in the first session of the day. Looks like they had some ECU error codes that Dr. Drew of another Track Spec Autosports was able to fix for them. So they're back out here, Auto Fashion USA. Hopefully they can put down their first lap time of the day.
The wheel and tire setup, I don't know what they run in the rear, but that is a 295/30 under the stock body. That's probably the coolest thing about the FK8 chassis as compared to old chassis. Carlos owned a lot of older Hondas. You can't fit a 295 under an old Honda chassis. With these new Type Rs, you can put a 295 directly under the front chassis with a proper offset wheel, and you get all the grip you're looking for. These are the cars leaving to go hot, so got a lot. It looks like got a lot of Honda love in this session, guys. This is a Porsche Boxster, also running in street class, 718 Boxster. This is another one of the Renner cars. That's going to be what is it? Robert Klein, I believe it is. All right, it does look like we have all cars on track. So this track is about to go hot. Let's see what kind of lap times we get out of this session. That is Nick Bright in his Spoon Sports Accurate TSX. That is the car that they used to run in wheel to wheel. So he was able to pick that car up. The Auto Fashion USA car has started his lap. All right, guys, so these laps are hot. We have what looks like everybody out here basically clicking, ready to go out. So we'll see what kind of lap times Joshua Enfield and Dustin Williams lay down.
Frankie Ho started the session strong with a 1:57.655. I believe that's a little bit faster than his first session lap time. So he's out there already starting strong. And ooh, looks like we have already an off really close to the tower, but it looks like he's clear. That is Dustin Williams. Oh, looks like that would be on Sunset. So that's a very common occurrence with the last turn of this track, which is Sunset. When you get a little bit of oversteer on the exit, sometimes the rear wheels grab the pavement, where the pavement starts and where the dirt ends. So we've seen in the past where drivers come into contact with that wall as it doesn't approach quickly, but Dustin Williams was able to avoid the wall. His team checked over his car and looks like he is going to go right back out. We have our tech checking over his car to make sure everything is good for him to go back.
Yeah, it does look like the car is good. He basically spun it in the best place he possibly could in Sunset. If he'd have made it about 10 more feet down the front straight, we would have seen it in the tire barrier. So it's good to see him keep that car off the wall and go back out. So he is going to be able to go back out. It does look like Nick Bright was not able to set a lap time. He came back into the hot pits, so he may have had a nice little off there. So he's going to go back out and see. We have Tony, one of our tech guys, looking over the car, and they'll send him back out. It does look like Frankie Ho is the fastest of this session so far at 157.098. He is a little bit faster than his first section at 57 at NA S2000 wearing the Montero. That car is moving. There's Dustin back out on track trying to clean up those tires. He's going to start for a new hot lap. Hopefully he's able to get them down. Unlike other tracks, our timing and scoring loop does not actually go through the pits. So when you see someone come into the pits and not cross start finish, their lap time actually never goes. So you'll see Dustin have like a 3 or 4 minute lap time right now because he had to come into the pits after the spin. All right, guys, so there's Dustin Williams starting his first hot lap with timing. Let's see what kind of lap time he can lay down.
On screen there, that's Coy Kreider in the car number 315. He's been able to clock a 201.305. That's his fastest lap of the session on his second lap. Looks like we have a safety pass here. That's car number 420, Jason Paraga in the S2000. Looks like he is on a flyer.
It does look like we have a lot of nice open track space here. This is something you'll see usually towards the end of the session. You'll see a whole lot of track space, people not in anyone's way. A lot of guys will run 1 or 2 laps and then bring it back in. It does look like we are getting some guys still running some laps. That right there is an enthusiast class, Subaru WRX being run by Renner Motorsports. That's going to be a 203, number 58. It's going to be Richard Klein, by the way, guys. I said Robert earlier. It's Richard Klein.
Aaron Gong already finding more time here with a 158.553. That's in car number 559 at PRC. He came into the hot pits just now. Looks like they're making a quick tire pressure adjustment and should be going back out and see if those tire pressure changes finding a little bit more time.
There we have Dustin Williams with his first flyer of this session. Looks like he ran a 2:09.33, so he is definitely improving his lap time from session 1. That spin obviously did not get in his head because he went out there and sent it again. That's something you see with some drivers. Some drivers, it takes a few laps to get back. Other ones just go right back out there. And all the time he spent on track with this car leading up to this event, you could tell he's become very comfortable with this car.
up here on the tower, and now on our screen, we had a really clean dog leg on this car number 420. This is an S2000 driven by Jason Paraga. Looks like he has a really quick line through Riverside, making a safe pass by a car on their cooldown lap going into Phil Hill. This might be his fastest lap time of the session.
And we have Nick Bright finally laying down the lap. He did a 2:07.1. So he picked up, I'd say, about 5 seconds over Therese, and that's 100% just based on the fact that it's his car. He knows how it drives. Therese is out there driving all kinds of chassis. She has a Subaru S2000. Now she's trying to get used to how a front-wheel drive car drives. So it's nice to see these guys out here just laying faster laps.
Looks like Christian Bustle is finishing up his session here. That's car number 202 in the WRX.
That right there in the Porsche Cayman 718, that's Jason Bogalki. He is from Arizona. He is actually one of the NASA AZ guys. Along with that Viper we were talking about earlier, that is a car that our own Uncle Tony at UMS Tuning has done work on. So it's nice to see these guys out here competing with us. He's running a 201.509 with basically a stock 718 Cayman.
And a convertible one at that.
You got to be able to drive in style.
Shit.
All right, guys, so here's what the standings of this looks like so far. We got Frankie Ho, fastest of Group 3, Session 2 with a 157. Aaron Gong in his BRZ at a 58.5. He has dropped his lap time very well. Noah Geither at a 2-minute flat. Dustin Williams also at a 2-minute flat. Both of them trying to push that sub-2 barrier. Jason Paraga at a 2:01. Corey Kreider at a 2:01.3. Jason Bogalki at a 2:01.5. This really shows you how we line these cars up based on speed index. You're not getting huge differences from the fastest and slowest in the session. These guys are all within a very close time frame of each other.
Also, something to note, Nick Bright found another 2 seconds between his last lap and this current lap. He found a 2:05.762. That's a significant improvement to find 2 seconds in just one lap.
Especially from someone that only drives here maybe once a year at these events, you know. He comes all the way from Texas. If you don't know anything about Nick Bright, number one, he's probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Number two, he works on oil fields for a living, so he pumps out 160-hour weeks. So for him to find the time to come out and compete with us is always an amazing thing.
Jason Paraga crossing the finish line here in that car number 420. That's an enthusiast class S2000, and from what I can tell from up at the tower, it seems like it's a pretty stock S2000. So considering that, that's a quick time for nearly stock S2000 here at Buttonwillow.
Yeah, and honestly, for an enthusiast class S2000, you know, these cars are
going to be ran until the day we die. They are not the most common cars out there. I see maybe 1 or 2 on the street every month, but I swear every time we come out to one of these events, they're everywhere. So this is an amazing chassis, and this is definitely the kind of car we're going to see running with us for a long, long time.
Frankie Ho must have heard me mention in session 1 that I hope that he can run a 56 in that S2000 because he ran a 57.0, so close for a 56. I really hope to see this car break into the 56 range next session. So Frankie Ho, if you're listening, no pressure, but I really hope you break into the 56 range.
And just right now, Jason Caraga just jumped it up a little bit at a 2:06.91. I do want to give our production team some serious props. These times in front of you, they're live. The second that he ran that 2:691, it jumped on this group. This isn't something that they typed up really quick and put up there. This is in the embedded coding. It's awesome to see this just so you guys can see the lap times as they happen. But he has done a good job with a 2:691 in his enthusiast class car. He's definitely out there pushing.
Christian Bustle also crossing the finish line in that car number 202 WRX. Fortunately, we are not picking up a lap time from him, so if anyone is near Christian Bustle's garage, hopefully you can let them know to put a transponder on the car. And we have a huge jump in time here. Car number 206, Carly Devery. I apologize if I'm not saying your last name correctly. Please message me if I am. She just ran a 1:59.982. That is the first lap that we've seen her put down today, which is that's a really nice time. She's in street class, so that's another Renner Motorsport car there.
Yeah, and in practice, I don't know if she'd spent a lot of time on this track. Yesterday, she tried to put down as many laps as she could, and it was her first time on the 852s, I believe, and she was just trying to go out the bat, not get a little heat into them, and she did spin maybe 3 or 4 times in her first time out on that car. So, but it was awesome. She came in, made some changes, went back out, and her car looked really good. And she goes out there right now and just lays down a crazy fast lap time of a 59 for someone that hadn't done very much with it at all. So this is Group 3, Session 2 being checkered. Anyone who had not finished a hot lap, this will count. Everyone else will be coming in while Group 4 is over there gridding up, getting ready to go out. So right now we're going to work on getting you guys overall standings for the day so far, just so you can see
where we are in this day. We have one more group before lunch. So this is going to be basically the first half of the first day. Remember, GTA Finals is a 2-day event. Every single session, every lap counts. It doesn't matter if you run your fast lap first or last, it's where it counts. So here's your overall for enthusiast class. 2 minutes is the barrier, guys. No one has gone sub 2 in enthusiast yet. This is the street class contest right here. We have Amir, Jackie Dean, and Sean Kresbach, all in the 46, 47, 48 range. Everyone else is 50 plus. So these are the guys really shooting to be at the top. Same thing on limited class times. Amir is actually leading 2 different classes. Are we going to see someone get first place in 2 classes? I haven't seen that since the Ventus TD days when Burke brought the BMW and ran street and limited in the same car with just a tire swap. Ferris doing great out there. Damien doing amazing with the 47.
Yeah, no, it seems to be that it's just the tweaking. It's probably going to have to be tweaked, which track.
Sean Cagle still leading out there in Unlimited, and then Nick Bright and Therese Lalau over here still doing a good job over here in Pro Comp. These are the times from the first session, FY. We'll get you updated times either right before or right after lunch, so you know what Group 2, what all the Session 2 times were, and so we can have that all updated for you. Here right now we have the Group 4 cars ready to go out. I can see the Phillips brothers. They're always the first ones to grid, man. These guys want to go out and just slay it. See a couple Type Rs. I see an Acura Integra. I see a right-hand drive Subaru wagon. I see a lot of good stuff ready to go out. These guys, it always feels like the enthusiast guys and the early street guys are the most excited to go out and have a good time and try to lay down fast laps. So these guys are raring to go, and we'll see how it lays out for them.
Yeah, and hopefully both of the Phillips brothers cars have transponders on them for this session so that we can see what that S10 is putting down, driven by Kevin Phillips.
Just so you guys do know, this is going to be the last group before lunch. We will be at lunch from 11:45 to 1. This session will go from 11:25 to 11:45. So this way you guys know exactly where we're at. While we're here, to anyone who's just tuning in right now, I want to give a huge shout out to our production team. Due to COVID, we were not able to get the entire production staff here to California. So I have 2 very faithful camera guys here with us. We have our producer working his butt off. His name is Derek. He's out in Portland, Oregon, working remotely right now. Ryan Randalls from Rev Media is taking care of all of the visuals that you see on screen from his home in Colorado. And these guys are just killing it without being here. We're really blessed to be able to put this event on here in 2020 with everything that's been going on. So first and foremost, thanks to those guys. Second of all, thanks to every single competitor. Us here at the GTA staff have nothing but love for everyone that's taken time out of this year to compete with us at every event. We know this has been a hard year for guys, so for you guys and gals. So everyone that made it out here, huge shout out. Thank you so much. And overall, the day has been great. The track conditions are still amazing right now. So these people are super excited to be out here. The sun is out, but it's nice, cool weather. Carla has been updating us on the weather like crazy. That is one thing that she does that I just cannot stay on top of. She knows these tracks well, but I think she has all those apps on her phone because she is racing all over the world in a whole bunch of wheel-to-wheel series. So she kind of needs to know what the weather is going to be like before she goes out.
Yes, absolutely. And since you're on the topic, we're seeing 61 degrees right now. It's beautiful out here. It's sunny, but it's nothing too crazy. The track seems to have a lot of grip. We're not really going to see it get too much hotter today, high of 62, and tomorrow it's going to be another beautiful day. So really looking forward to a nice, beautiful weekend here at Buttonwillow Raceway.
Listen, if any big news corporations are looking for a weather person that actually knows the weather, Carla Pistotnik, you can find her at her name and her email address.com. You can contact me. I am her agent. So I take a small commission, 50%. So please let us know. She'll actually give you real weather updates.
Yes, then you can go ahead and PayPal Cuban directly.
All right, guys, so here we are, Group 4, Session 2, out on track. These guys are going to go ahead and try and set some flyers before lunch. Traditionally speaking, all the fast times are set before lunch. But also traditionally speaking, after lunch, we have hot days. And, you know, per my very well-paid weather person, we are not going to have a hot time today. So I think whether they set them now or Group Session 3 or Session 4, we have the potential for every session to lay down fast laps. So these guys are still going to push it hard, but I think we're going to be seeing fast laps for the entire day. Listen, I'll be really honest with you, that Volvo doesn't even look that big. Like, we have like hatchbacks that are that big. So it doesn't really look that out of place on track. It does have a pretty decent engine though. I was watching him practice yesterday. It does get up and go. It transfers weight really well, as you just saw him go through the dogleg right there before the stop. And it seems to have some pretty decent suspension travel. It settles well. I don't know what kind of suspension's on it. It may just be factory on springs, but the car seems to be moving rather well. That right there is Brett Nicoletti, who took that off-road rallycross line earlier. I was talking to him via text a few minutes ago, and he said that he made some changes on the car, a few damper changes and probably some air pressure changes, so he gets a little bit better feeling on turn. And it basically looked like he turned into bus stop, car got a little snappy on him, he tried to correct, and he just went straight.
Kyle Phillips on the screen there in the Chevy Bel Air, car number 56. right, looks like Pedro Ontiveros has clocked in a 205.473. That's in that Volvo V60. Mark Solis, car number 333, already clocked in a 205.366. Bobby Velasquez finding a 204.0. Ivan Carl Antonio found a 210.831. Stephen Tang clocking in a 204.206.
As you can see, the leaderboards updating on our live stream. These guys are all well within each other. It does look like the fastest time is Mr. Adam Wood in his enthusiast class car for this session at 2:03.893. So he is out there flying. It's crazy. If you talk to a lot of drivers, it's like the feeling between a 203 lap and a 155 lap, they feel so similar in speed. It's just getting all the small sections right. Your entry onto the front straight, your turn one, you're getting through cotton corners to set you up through that entire complex before bus stop. The exit out of Riverside, trying to keep the car through speed. I mean, we see a lot of people lose crazy time through the sweeper. The sweeper can make and break your lap, mainly because the sweeper sets you up for the S's in the back straight. I'll let Carla tell you because she's the racer. I'm just the bench racer. But your exit out of Sunset into the S's is really what sets you up for the speed going into Sunset.
Yes, absolutely. So this track is really crucial for where you place your momentum, and certain turns like the beginning of the cotton corners, where you start to pick up the throttle there really impacts about half of the lap there, and that's really where a lot of the time it is. Also starting from sweeper coming into Sunset, that's another section where you find a lot of time here. So I don't know if this was a battle before they came here to it, but if it wasn't a battle, I'm going to make it a battle between the two brothers, the Phillips brothers, Kevin Phillips driving the S10 and Kyle Phillips driving the Bel Air. Kevin is currently less than a second faster than his brother Kyle Phillips, so he clocked in at 211.393, and his brother Kyle Phillips at a 212.0.
Well, it's good to see the brothers competing. Like I was talking to them, these guys have much love for each other and driving their cars. Kyle told me Kevin's the faster one. He said it with such confidence, but I mean, if you look at the times, Kyle is all of 0.7 off of Kevin. So these guys are definitely capable of surpassing each other time and time again. And for anybody who's ever ran this track for the first time, let alone in an S10 truck or a Bel Air, these times are very, very nice.
And as we're speaking about that, Kevin just clocked in a 210.850. That's in the S10. That's a wicked quick time, in my opinion, for an S10 truck. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and he was probably one of the fan favorites in the Pacific Northwest at the Ridge. There were a few cars there that just everyone loved seeing, and him and his brother. His brother wasn't running the time attack; he was running the SCCA event. But it was awesome to see those guys out there, and just to have them out here running these lap times. It's actually very, very impressive.
Kevin Phillips going through the bus stop in that S10 truck. Ivan Carl Antonio found his fastest lap of the session with a 207.877. Bobby Velasquez looks like he also found his fastest lap of the session, and I believe it might be his fastest lap overall for him. That's car 999 with a 203.152.
That is definitely going to be his fastest lap of this event so far, so he is still finding speed. We can tell a little bit that the sun is getting brighter, so the track is probably getting a little bit warmer, but I don't know if that's detrimental yet because we're seeing cars out here finding speed with the sun down. So it could just be it's heating up the track just enough to get a little bit more warmth into those tires to give them a grip. It's a very fine line between tires that are gripping and tires that are sliding. Luckily, the ambient air temps are staying very low, which is helping the track not overheat. It's very rare that you see an overheated track on a 60-degree day.
All right, so our fastest lap of this session is Adam Wood, car number 126. I believe that's a right-hand drive Super Impreza wagon. He clocked in at 2 minutes, 2 seconds, 0.493. That's a quick time for that car. That's also an enthusiast class car.
And all of enthusiast classes in the 2 minutes. So the leading car enthusiast is basically a 2-minute flat. So he is definitely in the hunt. Got Bobby Velasquez in his street class number 999 car. That's a Honda Civic Type R, running a 203-152. I'm sorry, limited class, and I think that was based off of just not being able to pass street tech. We have Stephen Tang at a 203-542. Stephen is driving, I just have it in front of me, an Integra GSR, the black one. So these guys are all out here pushing their cars. It really does look like Adam Wood, Bobby, and Stephen Tang have ran their fastest lap so far of this session. So the track is definitely getting faster.
All right, and a little update on the other competition that I am going to claim the fame for the competition between the two brothers. Kevin Phillips just clocked in a 207.839. That's a really fast time. That's going to be in that car number 953, the S10 truck. Kyle Phillips still at a 211.422. He found his fastest lap time of the third lap. And I stand corrected. Kyle Phillips just clocked in a 210.970 and his fourth lap in that Chevy Bel Air.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I guess I just must have been missing here. So Kyle and Kevin were very, very close to each other. Kevin at 205, but I mean Kyle at 210, but Kevin on his last lap moved up to a 205.2. He literally pulled 5 seconds out of thin air, and it looks like he's going for another. I mean, he must have figured out a couple key corners and just had a super clean lap because he just laid down a 205.2 in his S10 truck. So that's awesome to see him running like that.
Looks like Bobby Velasquez also found some time here on the fifth lap of his session currently as well. He just clocked in at 202.841. That's a quick time for him as well. Looks like he's in limited class. Mark Solis also finding his fastest lap on his fifth lap, which was at 2 minutes 3 seconds, 0.681.
Here we have, so that bus stop corner, that's probably one of the weirdest and hardest corners to figure out on this track. It leads into Riverside, this long bank sweeping right-hander. But bus stop is one of those make it or break it corners. Turn in too early, you're 4 off on the inside and you end up in the dirt. Turn in too late, you end up on the dirt on the right. You really And this is, of course, depending on car and setup, but you really want to put the two inside wheels over that curb. From personal experience, I learned you turn in way earlier than you think you need to.
That's that S10 truck who has been driven really well today by Kevin Phillips, his fastest lap of the day and also the session. He clocked in at 205.263 in that S10 truck. So that's really cool to see him out here in a truck nonetheless. And also out here with his brother. Also, Austin Shipley just clocked in his fastest lap time of the session. Car number 669 with a 207.0.
All right, it does look like Kevin Phillips is going back out. He had his tire pressures checked, and I mean, he's already cut 5 seconds off of his lap, so we're going to see him go back out, see what he runs.
I don't know, maybe he can cut off another 5 seconds and go sub 2. We'll see. Would have never thought a truck can go sub 2 here at Buttonwillow, but nothing is impossible. 2020, let's go.
My good, 2020, we're going to see someone in a minivan do sub 2 the way this year's been going. So it is really cool to see him out here running those times. So, I mean, look, talk to anyone, any real racer. No, but seriously, talk to anyone that comes here and does track days. 205s are very respectable. We have gotten so used to, in the time attack world, cars going sub 50. So when we see a 205, you know, we may be a little jaded, or not us, but competitors are jaded, think they're going slow. But I ask any everyday track guy to come here in their car that they track, if you tell them their first time here they did a 205, they'd be like, man, you're flying. 205, you're laying it down.
Yeah, Buttonwillow Raceway, if you've never been here before, it's a track with a lot of character. There's also a lot of turns here. It's not an easy track to just come here and learn without ever experiencing it. There's a lot of small flying details to the track. To go faster and to get an optimal line through.
Well, and I know exactly what you're saying, because you have people like Ferris who are known to run their fastest laps at every event they go to. And when you have someone with that much skill and that much time in the car show up here and say, hey, this was way harder than I expected, there is no way that I'm going to be able to just show up and run the fastest lap. I'm going to need time on this track. This track really throws people off. So if there's anyone on this live stream listening that is, let's say, within a 3-hour drive, the TGA Performance Subaru WRX has lost their motor. If there is anyone, a shop, a friend, somebody that has an FA20 DIT laying around in their garage, laying around on their shop, laying around in their neighbor's driveway and you don't like your neighbor, give us a shout out, send us a message, let us know the TGA guys are willing to make this drive and they have some cold hard cash to give you. Thank you so much.
Adam Wood, just on the screen there, found another second in that right-hand drive Subaru wagon. He found a 201.819. That's an enthusiast class car.
So here we go, guys. Here's this session 2, Group 4 times. Adam Wood did lead this session with a 2:01.819. Bobby Velasquez did find his fastest time possible of this session and the event at a 2:02.841. Stephen Tang with a 2:03.543. Mark Solis with a 2:03.681. And Kevin Phillips with a 2:05.263. And to be clear, this is the same Kevin Phillips that Carlos has been talking about in that truck at 2:05.2. The guys in the session have really been laying it down. Hey, by the way, can you go ahead and let him know Kevin's new time? Past start finish right now. He just set a faster time.
Oh boy, it looks like Kevin is on a roll so far with a 2:04.510. I don't know what kind of tire pressure changes they're making in that S10 truck, but they keep finding time and keep going faster in that S10. So honestly, I'm excited to see what they can do in that truck here at Buttonwillow Raceway. Austin Shipley finishing out the session here with a 2:06.513.
All right, guys, so what we're going to do here for you before we cut the session for lunch, as soon as everyone has come in and the times have become legit, we're going to push the overall standings for the day. We have all the guys who have finished their hot laps coming in. So thanks so much for being with us, guys. Here are the very first 2 sessions of Global Time Attack GTA Finals. As you can see, we are still running a limited production due to COVID. Our entire production staff could not be here. So we have 2 camera guys that have come loyal with us. I have a gentleman named Derek who is killing the production right now from his home in Portland. Our other director, Ryan Randall, is working from home in Colorado, and he's busting his butt to make sure everything that shows up on screen is on point and is what it needs to be. I also want to give a huge shout out to all of our sponsors. First and foremost, huge shout out to Yokohama Tire. These guys have not only given us a quality tire, but they have supported our series since last year. Garrett Advancing Motion, Raise Wheels, Ignite Race Fuel, Competition Clutch, CSF Radiators, Race Shapes, Meister Watches, and Stop Tech Brakes. These are the people that help our competitors go fast and help our organization push forward. So nothing but love to those guys. Thank you so much. As you can see on camera here, these are the leaderboards for Group 4, Session 2. These are the times that were laid in this session. The track has been good and nice. The weather has been good. It's been cool. What we're going to do now, while we're pushing these, we're going to show you the overall standings. So this is every single standing that's been for the first 2 sessions of the day. So we have Aaron Gong right here. He does have a double time. We'll fix that, but he has a 1:58.553. He is leading enthusiast class, followed by Henry Lamb. That's a BRZ followed. We have Amir Bentatow leading street with a 1:46.4, followed closely by Jackie Ding at a 47.8 and Sean Krebsback at a 48.1. Mr. Romano actually surpassed Kevin Burke by 4/10. That is really impressive to see. So street class is very competitive right now. We're probably going to see some faster lap times after lunch. So super excited to see that. Also, everyone who's been watching will know that street class is probably one of the most competitive classes. 1st to 8th is like 2 seconds. Now, funny enough, you go to limited class, you think nothing has changed, but that's actually Amir in a different car. That's Amir in the LSM3 Motorsport Hardware BMW at a 1:45. Ferris is only 2/10 off of them in 2nd place. JC Monet in 3rd. And finally, we have the fastest times of the day so far. We have Mr. Hagsman at a 41.0, Sean Cagle at a 42.7, and then a 47.1, and then a 48.6. Pro Comp is going to be Nick Bright and Therese Lalou at a 2:05.762. They have found a lot of pace in that car. So these are the times that you're seeing so far. We're actually going to sign off right now for lunch, guys. We will be back at 1 p.m. We're going to go hot again at 1. So stay with us. Make sure you stick around, see everything that's going on, and we'll be back at 1. And we pretty much guarantee you that as long as the competitors can go out at 1 o'clock, we're probably going to see some faster lap times. What do you think, Carla?
Absolutely. I think there's a solid chance everybody had the chance to not only shake off the dust from not being able to drive since the quarantine, but we've also seen a lot of adjustments to all of the cars. So I think we're going to see some faster lap times in the second half of the day today.
This is all of our production crew here, guys, man. So take a look, man. Ryan Randalls, he's working from his home in Colorado. Jeff Hart could not be with us at this event, but he's been a tried true part of our staff. I had these backwards, by the way. My director is Derek, okay? Derek Nickel is working hard from his home in Portland. I have Steven Sullivan and David Medina. These guys are a staple of my camera crew. Nothing but love for them. The two announcers, the most important one is Carla Pisto. Nick, thank you so much for being with me here, Carla. This production would not be the same without you, as people get sick and tired of my voice. And then MBDD Motorsports for all the graphics you see on screen. Huge shout to Mert for everything that he does for us, man. Nothing but love.
All right, see you guys back here at 1 p.m. Thanks for watching, and be